my beloved child. When night falls and the world sinks into silence, I draw nearer to you than ever before. It is in those still hours that your soul can hear my voice more clearly than in the brightness of the day. The night is not an empty void, but a sacred field where I plant seeds for the coming season. You often fear the dark, thinking it hides what is uncertain, yet in my eyes the night is the curtain I draw to prepare for a new dawn. Just as a seed buried deep in the soil lies quiet, yet full of life, so too is your soul being shaped by my hands in this silence. Do not run from it. Do not rush to push it away. Let the darkness become your covering, while I work in the deepest parts of you. You ask why I choose the night to speak. Because it is only when you can no longer rely on the light of the world that you begin to recognize the light within the one I placed there long ago. When all the noise fades, and only my voice and your heartbeat remain, that is when you are realigned. Many flee from silence because they fear facing themselves. But my child, it is in the silence that you will meet me most profoundly. Remember, I called Samuel in the night. I met Jacob before dawn. I spoke to Abraham while others slept. The night is the hour I choose to awaken those I have called, and now I am awakening you. My child, you sense that something is about to shift, though you cannot yet name it. That stirring is the turning of a new season. I have heard your cries, the quiet ones whispered in loneliness when no one understood or stood beside you. I have seen the tears that soaked your pillow, and I have gathered each drop into my bottle. Not one breath of your pain has been wasted. Everything you have endured is being woven by my hand into a tapestry of meaning. When you think you are being delayed, you are actually being prepared. When you think a door has closed, I am building the frame for a new gate. Like the potter at his wheel, I keep my hands on the clay. I have never once abandoned the shape I am forming. Believe this, for I have never left any of my works unfinished. There are nights when you ask, Lord, why has nothing changed? But my child, if I were to move before your heart is strengthened, the blessing would crush you. Just as new wine needs new wineskins, what I am about to pour out requires a soul stretched wide. You have longed for an open door, yet you did not realize I have been opening you first. No door can open outward while the heart within remains shut. So tonight I invite you close, so that I may unlock the hidden places in your spirit, the locks called fear, doubt, comparison, and unworthiness. Those are not from me. They are remnants of words once spoken over you, wounds you have carried and limitations you mistook for truth. I have come to break them. My child, I know how hard you have tried. I have watched the late nights when you worked faithfully, and the mornings when you rose weary yet pressed on. I am not blind to your faithfulness. But now I do not want you merely to survive, I want you to live in abundance. There is a difference between existing and truly living. You have learned how to endure. Now you will learn how to receive. You have trusted me in lack. Now I will teach you to trust me in overflow. For sometimes the greatest test is not suffering but stewardship of blessing, and to keep you from losing yourself in the very grace I will give, I am refining you in the dark. Tonight let me teach you the art of release. You have believed that holding on gives you control, yet true victory comes through letting go. When you clutch tightly, you block my flow. When you open your hands, I can fill them. Lay down everything you think you understand, for natural knowledge cannot compare to the wisdom of my spirit. I know you fear repeating old mistakes, missing opportunities, or not being enough. But my child, I have not called you to live in fear, but in love. Perfect love casts out fear, and I am that love. When you abide in me, nothing can make you tremble. Remember, before Moses led my people out of Egypt, he stood in the darkness of the desert for 40 years. Before Joseph wore a crown, he sat in a prison. Before Jesus rose again, he lay in a tomb for 3 days. Night always comes before morning. Death always precedes resurrection. Stillness always ushers in the call of destiny. And tonight you stand in that in-between where the old fades and the new begins. Do not fear what you cannot see, for faith does not need sight to move. Faith only needs to hear my voice and walk. I have planted seeds in you that you do not yet know exist. They were sown through pain, watered by tears, and now I am about to make them bloom. You will marvel when you see how what once felt like failure becomes the foundation of a miracle. You thought you were forgotten, but you were hidden. I hid you not because you were unworthy, but because I was protecting you from eyes that could not yet understand your worth. Like Mary, who carried the promise in silence, you too are carrying a promise within. Do not rush its birth. Let time and my spirit bring it forth. Tonight, as the world quiets, understand this. This is not the hour to fear. It is the hour to prepare. Dawn is approaching, and it will not wait. When the first rooster crows, everything will change. You will stand before the door I promised long ago. But to pass through, you must set down every unnecessary weight. Not every relationship can come with you. Not every habit can remain. Not every thought deserves to stay. Let me purify your heart, for the blessing that awaits requires undivided faithfulness. Preparation always happens in hidden places. No one else sees, but I see. No one applauds, but I do. No one records, but I am engraving your name on the palms of my hands. When you obey me in the smallest things, you open the way for the greatest miracles. So tonight, enter the silence, not as one weary, but as one being trained for a new mission. Let every breath become a prayer, every heartbeat an act of worship, and when you lie down, do not simply close your eyes in fatigue, close them in trust. For in that very moment, heaven begins to move on your behalf. My beloved child, do not think these silent moments are wasted. They are where I am shaping you into my likeness. Like a jeweler refining gold in gentle fire, I am purifying your soul through the flame of waiting. When gold is heated, it does not shine immediately, but within its structure transforms. So it is with you. These trials are not meant to destroy you, but to define you. I am preparing within you a strength you have never known. For what you are about to carry is not temporary, but eternal, not to bring glory to your name, but to magnify mine. Let this night become a new covenant between you and me. Let your prayer not be a sigh, but a vow, the vow of one who is willing to be changed. You do not need to bring me perfection. Bring me what is unfinished. I am not looking for the flawlessness of your actions, but for the surrender of your heart. When you give me yourself, I can renew everything. Call to me tonight, my child, and when you call, I will answer. I will ignite the lamp within your spirit so that not only will you see me, but you will see yourself again, the person I intended you to be from the beginning, before fear dimmed that identity. When I prepare to raise a person up, I first shake the old foundation. When I set new things in place, I must remove what once held you captive. So if everything seems unstable, that is not a sign of my absence, but proof that I am drawing near. The wind does not blow to uproot the tree, but to strip away the dead leaves. Likewise, the winds of testing come to remove from you what no longer belongs to the coming season. Do not resist them. Let them cleanse, lighten, and purify you. I see within you a flame that still burns even when it flickers faintly. That is the faith I planted in you before you knew how to pray the sacred memory of me, of the first love between us. Tonight I come not to rebuke, but to rekindle that fire. For in its light, you will see tomorrow's path more clearly. Know that I have never been far from you. Even when you walk through the shadows, I remain your light. Even when you tremble in fear, I am your refuge. So when you lie down tonight, whisper to your soul, He is here. Let those words become the rhythm that rocks you to sleep. For if you rest in my peace, you will awaken in my power. And when dawn breaks, you will not be the same person you were last night. You will be one who met me in the dark, who heard my voice in the silence, who was shaped again by my hands. You will rise with a steadfast heart eyes that see beyond what others can see, and a spirit that knows this truth: everything I promise, I will fulfill. Tonight is the crossing between what has been and what is to come. And if you answer me tonight, all of heaven will begin to move for you. My beloved child, now I open before you the structure of a sanctified night, so that you will not only listen, but know how to step into the new day as one who has been prepared. First, still your heart. Close the windows that let noise into your soul, meaningless debates, comparisons that drain you, images that scatter your focus. I invite you to choose silence as a sacred act. True silence is not emptiness. It is the space where my voice resounds with clarity. Light a small candle, sit upright, and let your breath move like waves against the shore. Each inhale drawing in peace, each exhale releasing what does not belong to you. You need not many words for me to hear. I hear even your sighs. But tonight I want your breath to become a quiet yes, and your stillness to become a doorway through which I may intervene. As you sit before me, bring a notebook. My child, write down what I remind you of, not grand plans, but simple steps of obedience. Manna never fell as storehouses, but as daily portions, so too is my grace. You do not need to see the whole path, only the next step. Ask, what must I lay down tonight? What must I do first in the morning? And when a thought flickers gently like a breeze, do not dismiss it. That is how I often speak to those who listen closely. Write down a phrase, a verb, a person's name, an action to take. No embellishment, no justification. Obedience is woven from simple threads: a phone call, an apology, an honest message sent in humility, a door knocked upon with faith. These small acts turn the hinges of destiny, for the weight does not lie in their size, but in the atmosphere of my presence upon them. Do not wait for emotion to obey. Emotion is the wave, obedience is the boat. The waves will shift, but the boat must stay its course. When you say yes to me, you set the rudder of your soul toward truth, and though the winds blow, the vessel will reach the shore. I know you have failed before, hesitated, or returned to familiar shores out of fear of the deep. But remember, Peter only learned that water could hold his feet when he stepped out of the boat. Faith cannot be proven from the shore. It is revealed upon the waters. Tonight, decide within your heart that you will step forward, even if the first step trembles. I do not wait for perfect strides. I wait for courageous hearts. Your boldness is not born from applause, but from knowing that I stand before you, hand outstretched. I give you a filter to discern the voices you hear. Any thought that shrinks you, confuses you, or covers you in shame, that is not my voice. Any thought that opens space for faith, stirs love, brings order and clarity, whether it comforts or corrects, carries the fragrance of my spirit. Train yourself like Samuel. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. When you say that you tune the ears of your heart to the frequency of heaven, do not fear making mistakes. I know how to adjust your hearing. I will use Scripture as your light, a lamp to your feet, a guide for your path. I will use peace as the final verdict, for where peace is absent, you have not yet heard fully. I see the relationships surrounding you. Some I have sent to strengthen you. Others belong to a past season. Tonight is the time to lay these connections upon my holy scale. Ask, does this relationship draw me closer to God or pull me away? Does it expand my soul or shrink it? Does their presence awaken gratitude or breed bitterness? I do not ask you to turn away in pride. I am teaching you to set boundaries in love. Those who walk with you shape your rhythm. You cannot run with those who only wish to stroll along the shore. In this season, I am calling you to a runner's path, not because you are above others, but because your calling requires the focus of a warrior. Be both kind and firm. Keep those who belong, release those whose time is complete. When you close a door gently with gratitude, you open a great gate for glory. My child, I am also correcting how you perceive time. You grow anxious when the clock ticks, thinking you are late, that chances have passed. But I am not bound by minutes or hours. I use time as a furnace, not a whip. Tonight, exchange your measurement. Do not count your day by tasks completed, but by how deeply you have walked with me. 1 hour in my presence can redeem years of wandering. One timely act of obedience can shorten an entire season of delay. I am the Lord of harvests. When I declare, it is time, the ground will break open and the sprout will rise even while the farmer sleeps. Therefore, do not chase time as though lacking it. Walk with me as one who is led. I want you to examine the voices in your mind that speak about who you are. Along the way, labels others have placed upon you have clung to your skin, not enough, too late, flawed by nature, just a copy. Tonight I will remove them one by one. You are not a billboard of failure. You are a living letter written by my spirit, not by ink. You are not a replica of anyone else. You are the unique tone I composed to complete the symphony of humanity. You do not need to beg for a place. You are walking into the portion I prepared for you, where your name has already been engraved on your seat. When you reclaim your true identity, you will stand tall without needing to push anyone aside. Tomorrow, when the gate opens your spine, will remember this posture, upright, light, but steady, because you know where you come from and who has sent you. I give you a strategy for tomorrow. Do not begin with speed, begin with worship. Before every message, come to me. Before every call upon my name. I will give you the password for the new day, a verse to stand on, a prayer, to breathe an action, to set the wheel of grace in motion. Dress your soul simply, humility as your garment, gratitude as your belt, gentleness as your shoes. You will meet someone who seems to appear by chance. The conversation may feel ordinary, but the heaven above it will not be. Listen more than you speak. Ask briefly, but listen deeply. And when the moment comes, say one sentence, forged in my presence. You don't need eloquence, only precision. You don't need defense, only truth. A word distilled by me carries the weight of heaven's armory. It strikes straight, not in circles, and unlocks doors rusted by years of silence. Tomorrow, if your chest feels heavy as stone or a wind of doubt blows against you, do not be afraid. A headwind only proves you are facing the right direction. Pause for half a minute, place your hand over your heart and whisper, "By your spirit, not by my strength." Those words will change the air around you. They will make the idols of self-effort retreat and invite my spirit to take charge. You will find your rhythm again. Step, pause, listen, speak, be silent, smile. Guard your eyes from the mirrors of comparison. Another's success is not your verdict. It is a testimony that I am still moving. Bless them in your heart, for a spacious heart widens the path ahead. I know you fear mistakes, but I do not seek the flawless. I seek the moldable. Do not make perfection your idol. If you speak wrongly, correct it quickly with humility. Humility is the sap that seals the cracks. If you take a wrong turn, return without delay. Turning back early is wisdom, not defeat. I walk with you, not only at the destination, but through the entire journey. I guide not as a judge, but as a father holding the hand of a child learning to walk. The goal is not never stumble, but rise again faster each time. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, wash the feet of your mind. Forgive those who need forgiveness. Apologize to those you have condemned silently, and forgive yourself for the days you fell short. Forgiveness clears the path for peace to flow in like cool water. Then place your hand upon your forehead and bless yourself. May this mind remember truth. May this heart rest in love. May these hands work with grace. Blessing yourself is the seed I tuck into your sleep. By morning it will blossom into flowers. Do not forget that your body is a temple. The new season requires a vessel that can carry it. Give your body the right to rest. Turn off the screens, drink a sip of water, take 3 deep breaths, pull the blanket over you like drawing a soft cloud of calm. When the body is honored, the soul melts more easily into my presence. Do not call this small. Many battles are lost because the soldier was exhausted before the fight began. I want you steady, not blazing and then burning out. Your lamp will keep shining if it has oil. Oil is made of the quiet habits I teach you each night. Let the phrase, "Your will be done," rest under your tongue like a drop of honey. Those words do not weaken you. They align you with the strongest current in the universe, the current of my will. When you choose my will, you step into the tide that carries you to a shore no one can claim from you, even if you row slowly. Tomorrow, when you stand before the gate that has been closed for many seasons, you will see its hinges glisten with oil. The door will open not because you strike it harder, but because you have arrived at the right time and the right posture. You will cross not as a beggar seeking permission, but as one commissioned, not to perform but to serve, not to prove but to fulfill. I look upon you and smile. Tonight the soil of your heart is tender, the seed is sown, and dew has settled on the grass like quiet blessings. Close your eyes in love, for I am keeping watch. Give me your tomorrow, for I already stand within it. Believe that the whisper you hear tonight will become the pillar of cloud that guides you by day. When morning pulls back the curtain, you will discover the greatest miracle of every divine encounter. It is not the mountains that have changed shape, but the heart that has changed form. And when the heart changes, the world changes with it. My child, rest. When you sleep, I will do my part. When you wake, you will do yours. This rhythm will carry you through the gate into a season where grace will not run dry and glory will not fade. My beloved child, hear this: not every night is meant only for rest. Some nights are appointed to mark the turning of a soul. On such nights, the heavens seem closer, the air feels heavier with meaning, and every heartbeat echoes with a call from eternity. That is when I work deeper than any hour of your waking. That is when what cannot be seen by mortal eyes begins to move. And tonight, my child, is such a night. Do you feel it? That stirring in the deepest layer of your being, where no word can reach, where your soul knows something is changing, though your mind cannot yet name it. Do not dismiss that awareness. It is the signal of my spirit, the gentle knock before I swing open the door to your tomorrow. So do not close your heart. Do not extinguish the flame I am reigniting. Let your soul stay awake. For those who remain awake in my night will witness what sleepers never see. When I choose to meet you in the night, it is not because I am absent by day, but because night carries fewer voices so that mine can be heard without mixture. Just as I led Abraham out of his tent in the dark and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars if you can," so he would know, my promise was not bound by darkness. So too I call you to look up. The night sky you see is not merely a veil of silence. It is the map of my promises to you. Every star is a witness to a covenant that has never been broken. My child, you once asked me, "Lord, how can I know I am truly hearing your voice?" And I say this to you. You will recognize my voice, not by your ears, but by the fruit it produces in your spirit. My voice brings peace, even as it corrects. It carries light, even when it touches a wound. The enemy's voice comes with haste, accusation, and confusion. Mine comes with steadiness, gentleness, and authority. Tonight, I am teaching you to listen as one who is called. Train the ears of your heart, so that amid 1,000 sounds, you still discern my voice, the voice that called you from your mother's womb, the voice that once declared, "You are mine." Tonight is the hour I desire to restore the flow of trust that was once severed. There was a time when you believed boldly, but life and pain have worn that faith thin. You took steps forward, then turned back for fear of being hurt again. You promised yourself not to hope too much, lest you be disappointed. But my child, faith is not the avoidance of pain. It is the choice to believe that even in pain I am working for good. Let me touch the places in you that have grown calloused. Let me soften what you have closed. For as long as you fear being wounded, you cannot receive love in full. And the love I give you is neither partial nor cautious nor limited. Count your wounds, yes, but also count the times I have healed you. Remember the moments you thought everything was over, and I opened something new. Remember the days your hands were empty, yet I sustained you. Remember the prayers you whispered in despair, and how I answered in ways you did not expect. Each memory is a stone set into an altar within you, an altar of gratitude where the flame of faith is kept. Do not let the winds of doubt blow that flame out. Let it burn through the night, for its light will lead you into the morning. When I say dawn is coming, I do not speak only of time, but of unveiling. Dawn is the image of opening the light shining upon what was hidden. And just before the sun rises, the sky is always darkest. So if your heart feels heavy and the shadows seem thicker than ever, know that light draws near. I will not let the darkness linger beyond what you can bear, but I will not bring the morning sooner than you are ready. I do not want you merely to see the light. I want you strong enough to carry it. I hear you say, Lord, I am so tired. I know, and I do not rebuke you for being weary. Even my beloved Son sighed in his anguish and prayed in Gethsemane, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet he added, nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. My child, in that sentence, heaven trembled and hell shuddered, for obedience in the night is the key that opens the morning. When you have no strength to strive, and yet you still choose to trust your faith reaches its purest form, I do not need your strength. I desire your surrender. If you can do only one thing tonight, let it be this: place your hand over your heart and say, Lord, I entrust myself to you. Let those words sink into every thread of your breath. Say them until your heart grows calm and fear dissolves. When you yield, you do not lose control. You place the helm into the hands of the one who knows the way. You think that letting go is weakness, but only the strong are brave enough to fall into my everlasting arms. Remember, you are not falling into emptiness, you are falling into me. As you lie down in that trust, I will act. I will send my angels ahead to prepare your tomorrow. I will soften hearts once closed to you. I will straighten paths that seemed cut off. I will ease open doors that looked securely shut. You will not need to strive, you will need to obey. True victory is not born of noise, but of peace. When you are quiet within heaven and earth, lean in your favor. Do not let your mind invent 1,000 scenarios merely to survive. The future is not your enemy. It is the next stage in my plan of love. I do not lead you to a place to abandon you there. I do not open a road only to withdraw my hand. Everything I begin, I complete. Therefore, trust the process. There will be days when you walk swiftly, and days when you can only shuffle, but so long as you walk with me, you are never moving in the wrong direction. When you wake in the morning, do not open only your physical eyes, open the eyes of your spirit. Let the first light touch not only your face, but your soul. Remember, today is not simply a continuation of yesterday. It is a new chapter in the story I am writing. Each day I give you is a clean page, and the pen remains in my hand. But I ask you to place your heart upon that page that I might write lines filled with meaning. So tonight, before sleep covers you, let gratitude wrap you like a blanket. Thank me for what has been and for what has not yet come. Give thanks for the lessons in your tears, for the strength born in trials, and for the love that remained through the breaking. When your heart is full of gratitude, there is no room left for fear. Gratitude is the doorway to miracles, the bridge between the present moment and grace. And as you drift into sleep with thanks, heaven will whisper around you, "Peace to you, my child." The night will pass, and when the first light touches your window, I will be there waiting. I will smile to see you rise, for I know you are ready not to strive in your own strength, but to walk in mine. Ready not because you have a plan, but because you trust that I have one. Ready not because everything is clear, but because you believe I guide you through what is not yet clear. And as you step out of bed, you will carry within you the breath of the holy night, the breath of preparation, of trust, of surrender. Your dawn is coming. But tonight, my child, rest in me. Those who learn to rest in me will stand firm in the day. Those who keep silence with me at night will speak with authority when the sun rises, and those who believe in the dark will behold glory. My beloved child, you have just crossed a threshold. Last night was not merely a pause, it was a sacred handover. As you slept in surrender, my angels went ahead of you and laid the foundations for what I am about to do. Now the breath of morning carries the mark of a beginning. You no longer stand on this side of the promise. You have stepped to the other side, and like those who passed through the Red Sea, look back once and see the waters closed behind you. The old things cannot chase you anymore. Every chain has broken, every prison door has opened. Now you are no longer waiting, you are walking in unveiling. Notice the difference in the air, subtle yet deep. Not everything changes in an instant, yet the spiritual atmosphere around you has shifted. As when Joshua and my people crossed the Jordan, the ground was still dusty, the fields still needed plowing, battles still had to be fought, but my hand rested on them. I anointed their steps so that every place they set their feet became promised land. So it is with you. Whatever you do today, if you do it in obedience, will bear the seal of my power. You will no longer do old work with old strength, but with a freshness that flows from my spirit. As the vine does not bear fruit by effort, but by abiding in the root, so you will see results, not by strain, but by the circulation of grace. I know your shoulders may still feel heavy with the echo of yesterday. Do not let feelings deceive you. Emotions do not define spiritual reality. My word is truth. The truth is this: you now stand before a gate already open. It did not open by your effort, but by my decree. That gate does not merely lead you into a new phase, but into a new level of knowing. This is no longer a journey of mere reasoning, but of partnership. I am not only going before you, I am walking with you. Every breath, every thought, every small act can become an instrument through which I reveal my glory. My child, you asked, Lord, how will I know when I am ready to step through? And I answer, the very fact that you are asking means you are ready. Those who are not yet ready do not even realize they stand at the threshold. You have been refined by fire, shaped through trial, and molded in solitude. Now the things that once brought you pain will become evidence of your strength. I have not wasted a single tear, nor forgotten a single night you knelt in darkness. Every moment of that journey has been a seed for this season. Believe me, for within the weariness of faith, I have planted the seed of breakthrough. My child, when I open the gate, I do not simply offer opportunity, I entrust responsibility. Every blessing carries a weight, and every promise carries a mission. Do not seek what is easy, seek what is faithful. You are not called to do everything, but to do the right thing. Not every knock is an invitation from me. Some doors appear wide open, but have no light inside. Use the discernment I taught you in the night. Listen with your heart, not your eyes. Sense with the spirit, not your emotions. When you hear correctly, peace will accompany it, and that peace will be the seal of my confirmation. Do you remember what I said to Moses? Go, for I will be with your mouth and teach you what to say. Today I speak the same over you. When you stand before those I have appointed, when you enter conversations I have orchestrated, do not worry about your words. My spirit will place them on your tongue as a burning coal touched Isaiah's lips. These words will not come from your own will, but from my heart. They will melt frozen hearts, illuminate clouded minds, and open what once seemed permanently shut. Do not underestimate the power of one anointed word. A single sentence from heaven can shift the course of the world. I see the flicker of fear in you. What if I make a mistake, my child? Have you forgotten that I am the Lord of time and circumstance? I can straighten every crooked path. I can turn missteps into lessons and failures into launch pads. What I desire is not your perfection, but your tenderness to return. The more you depend on me, the less you can lose your way. When a child holds their father's hand, they do not need the map. They only need to trust the hand that never lets go. Today, I want you to walk differently than before, not as one who reacts, but as one who carries authority. When you step outside your door, remember you carry my name. Everywhere your feet tread becomes ground blessed by me. When you speak blessing, it does not rest on your lips, it travels with your breath. When you pray, angels record. When you forgive, another's chains fall off. When you give thanks, heaven's gates swing open. Every small act, when done with awareness of my presence, carries eternal weight. You ask, how will I know when to act and when to wait? Let peace be the compass of your heart. When peace moves, you step forward. When peace invites you to pause, rest. My peace is never hurried, never passive. It has its own rhythm, and those who follow that rhythm never miss my timing. You cannot be late, nor can you be early, if your eyes remain fixed on me. Remember, haste is the language of fear, but calm is the language of faith. If you feel the world still does not recognize what I have spoken over you, do not lose heart. When I do great things, I begin in silence. Just as Jesus lived 30 hidden years before 3 years of ministry, I am laying foundations in the unseen part of your story. I do not merely want you to bear fruit, I want you to have roots. So do not strive to prove yourself, just remain faithful. Those who sow in secret will reap in glory. When the moment comes, I will amplify your voice without you lifting it. Keep your heart pure. When grace flows, attention will follow, praise, criticism, doubt, they will all come like the wind. But remember, young trees only fall when they forget their roots. Let your roots go deep into my soil, not into the noise of men. Let my name be your hiding place. When you work for me alone, no insult can break you, and no compliment can corrupt you. I want you to walk in the steadiness of one who knows they are sent, not in the uncertainty of one who still seeks approval. Today is the day I have appointed for your beginning. But do not think beginnings are loud. They may appear simple, a prayer, a step, a small act of obedience. Like a mustard seed planted in the right soil, it will become a great tree. What you obey today may seem small in the eyes of others, but in heaven it resounds like thunder, announcing harvest. So step forward, not with trembling, but with trust that the gate is already open and I am standing on the other side waiting for you. Walk through without looking back, without doubt, without hesitation. Believe that on the other side I have prepared everything, encounters, opportunities, and miracles. Bring only faith and surrender. When you do, all of heaven will move with you, my beloved child. When the gate has opened, your journey will no longer be measured by distance, but by how fully you let me lead. For I have not only cleared the way before you, I desire to teach you how to walk upon it. Some step through the door yet still carry the heart of their old season, and so they cannot remain in the new land. But you are different. You have been prepared, refined, and shaped in fire until your soul becomes soft and sensitive to my spirit. Therefore, the first thing you must do after crossing over is not to rush into action, but to breathe within my presence. Let my peace fill your heart like cool water after thirst. For my child, I have not led you into chaos, but into order, into grace, into a rhythm where everything moves not by your strength, but by mine. Let me teach you the difference between activity and movement. Many are busy because they fear being left behind, yet busyness does not always mean progress. You can move quickly and still remain in the same place within your soul. I have not called you to race against the world. I have called you to walk in the rhythm of heaven. When you move in my timing, you will see everything align with divine precision, as though all creation itself turns to support you. That is how you will know you are in the right season, the right place, the right hour. Keep your spirit sensitive to that rhythm. When I say wait, do not rush. When I say go, do not hesitate. Grace has its own tempo, and whoever walks in rhythm with grace will never grow weary. In this new land, your faith will rise to another level. If once you trusted me in scarcity, now you must learn to trust me in abundance. Many do not fall in hardship, but in blessing. When they no longer need to plead for daily provision, they forget the provider. When the promise is fulfilled, they forget the one who spoke it. I do not want that for you. My goal is not to make you richer but deeper, not to make you more prominent but more transformed. Every blessing you receive must become a bridge that draws you nearer to me, not a tower that distances you. Do not mistake blessing as proof of favor and trials as punishment. Both are instruments in my hand. When I bless, I teach you stewardship. When I test, I teach you endurance. Both shape you to resemble me. Therefore, learn to see blessing through the eyes of gratitude and responsibility. Each morning pray, Lord, teach me to use what you have given, not to boast but to serve, not to elevate myself but to lift others. For you were chosen not only to receive, but to become a channel through which blessings flow. I am placing within you abilities you have not yet recognized, seeds of divine creativity that awaken as you walk in obedience. Do not think I use only the talented, I use the willing. Your willingness creates room for my spirit to move. When you believe that God can work through me, heaven begins to open. Then I will deposit ideas, strategies, and insights into your mind, not born of intellect, but of revelation. You will think of things that surprise even yourself, for I will be thinking through you. But be watchful of the most subtle trap, complacency. When results appear, when your words carry weight, when your steps open, paths always bow low. I give you strength, but the glory is mine. Everything I place in your hands is meant to make you a witness, not the center. When you work without prayer, you rely on yourself, not on me. When you seek recognition instead of presence, your soul grows tired. So I remind you, never let the gift overshadow the relationship. Power cannot sustain itself apart from communion. When Jesus multiplied the loaves and fishes, he did not forget to lift his eyes and give thanks to the Father. Before Lazarus rose from the grave, he said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. Gratitude always precedes power. And I want you to do the same in success, amid applause, within blessing, look up. Every time you pause to give thanks, you pull heaven closer to earth. And that is what keeps your heart tender in the midst of grace. My child, as you step through the gate, I am also opening a new territory within your spirit. You will notice new faces around you. They are not by chance. I have appointed people who hold keys to the next stage of your journey. Some will teach you what you have not yet learned. Some will test your humility. Others will help you recognize that I am working in ways you did not expect. Treat every person as though they were my messenger, for in some measure they are. Every encounter in this season, even the briefest one, is a fragment of a greater design. I have not called you into this new season merely to receive, but to overflow. When you comfort others, you multiply joy. When you help someone along the way, you sow into your own harvest. Every act of love, however small, is a prayer formed by your hands. If you wish to keep the flow of blessing alive, do not hoard it. A river remains alive because it flows. When it stops, it becomes stagnant. I want you to be a river, not a pond. Let my blessings flow through you and watch them increase. As you live this way, you will notice pressure fading. You no longer need to prove yourself only to be faithful. You no longer need to cling only to release control into my hands. You no longer need to defend yourself, for I am your shield. This is true freedom, not the absence of burdens, but the awareness of the one who carries them with you. I also want to teach you about the authority I now give. This authority is not for domination, but for service. It is not shown by loudness, but by presence. When you enter a room, the light within you will cause darkness to retreat. When you speak, hearts will find peace, not because your voice is strong, but because my Spirit speaks through you. Use that authority with love, not pride. When you kneel, you rule. When you humble yourself, you prevail. For the kingdom of heaven belongs not to the forceful, but to the meek. I did not open the gate so you could have a refuge, but so that you might become one. I will make you a gate yourself. Whoever touches your life will feel mine. Whoever witnesses your walk will know that I am real. Keep your spirit clear as crystal, so my light may shine through without distortion. When you live authentically, you will not need to strive to shine. The light within will find its own way out. Let your hands become my instruments, your words bridges of grace, your eyes wells of hope for the weary. Live as one who carries the kingdom within, for you no longer belong to this world. I have brought you out of darkness into marvelous light, and that gate, it is the path leading you straight into your divine purpose. My beloved, many to whom I open doors do not know how to remain steady once inside. They enter by faith, but try to continue by effort. They forget that the door was opened by grace, and only grace can keep it open. So today I teach you something deeper, how to walk the new land without losing holiness, without falling out of rhythm with my Spirit, and without letting the noise of the world drown the echo of my voice. My child, the land I lead you into is not only a place of success, but of responsibility. The open gate also exposes the heart. For when the light shines brighter, even the impurities become visible. Do not fear your weaknesses when they surface. Do not be alarmed when old habits try to return. Light reveals not to shame, but to heal. Let me continue to cleanse you through truth. Each day in this new land you will need to wash your feet, not because you are unclean, but because the dust of the road can weary your soul. Do not let your spirit harden in haste. Come to me each morning, that I may wash you with my word, saturate you with my presence, and refresh your breath with my Spirit. Understand this, my child, stillness is the strength of the one who is called. The world will tell you that to keep your position you must speak endlessly, prove yourself constantly. But I tell you, true power does not come from noise, it comes from presence. When you learn to be silent before me, the words you speak afterward will carry authority. When you know how to hide yourself in me, I will cause your light to shine without you striving for attention. I do not need you to chase the world, I need you to walk in step with me. Guard stillness as a gatekeeper guards the key, for it is in the quiet that you will hear direction for each day. Do not fear loneliness in this new land. Loneliness is not a punishment, it is a mark of distinction. When I called Abraham out of his father's land, he did not travel with a crowd, he walked with a covenant. When I called Moses up the mountain, he did not bring the people, he came alone to hear my voice. And when Jesus prepared for miracles, he often withdrew to solitary places to pray. Loneliness is the sacred space I reserve so that you can hear me clearly. Therefore, do not rush to fill the silence with chatter or noise. Let that silence become an altar, where I teach you to discern true gold from glittering imitation. You will notice that after crossing the gate, the first contrary winds will blow. They are not sent to defeat you, but to prove your roots. The wind does not come to break the tree, but to teach it how to draw strength from its source. My child, if I have allowed the wind, I have also placed in you the weight to withstand it. Do not react with fear. Respond with thanksgiving. Remember, the enemy only resists those who are advancing toward promise. And when the pressure increases, it is a sign that a breakthrough is near. I know there will be days when your heart feels weary, when the promises I spoke seem not yet fulfilled. You will ask, Lord, am I still on the right path? In those moments, seek not confirmation from people, but from me. Remember what I spoke in Isaiah 30:15. Repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength. That formula never fails. When you return to me, when you sit still amid the storm and choose trust, that is when divine strength fills you. Be vigilant against distraction. In your new territory side, doors will begin to open, opportunities, relationships, invitations, praise, even admiration, all coming to test your heart. Not everything good comes from me. Some things come to test whether you can still recognize my voice among 1,000 others. Ask me before each step. Do not rely on reason. Do not rush with emotion, both can deceive. Let my spirit be your counselor. When you choose obedience over opportunity, you choose glory that lasts. My beloved, remember, my goal is not to make you famous, but to make you a living testimony of grace. When you live faithfully, others will see me in you. They will ask, "Why are you at peace in the storm? Why are you gentle when betrayed? Why do you still pray when every door seems closed?" And then you will understand true blessing lies not in what you have, but in who you have become. That is why I chose you to reveal myself through your ordinary days. Not in grand sermons, but in quiet acts, when you love, forgive, remain faithful, and stay humble. I have placed within you a light the world cannot extinguish. But for that light to shine far, it must be guarded from the winds of pride and bitterness. Pride makes you forget the source. Bitterness makes you lose your fire. Both distort the beauty of the light within you. So tend your heart as a gardener tends a vineyard. Pull out the weeds of envy, prune away the branches of resentment. When your heart stays pure, the light shines effortlessly. When I speak to you, do not keep my words to yourself. Share what you receive. My words are not given to be stored, but multiplied. When you tell me what I have done for you, you plant seeds of faith in others. Do not think you need a pulpit to preach you. Preach through your eyes, through forgiveness, through how you live among the crowd. Every time you choose kindness over anger, patience over haste, love over offense, you are speaking about me in the language of heaven. Each evening before you close the day, return to me. Do not let the gate that opened in the morning be covered again by the dust of the world at night. Tell me what you saw, what you learned, what moved you, and what troubled you. Let me interpret those experiences under the light of heaven, so you may walk wiser tomorrow. For grace is not given merely to be thanked, for it is given so you may grow. What belongs to me does not need your anxiety to be protected. If I have opened, no one can close. If I have placed you, no force can remove you. All you need is to remain in me. Let me be the center of your plans, the heartbeat of your dreams, the breath in every step. And when you do, I will turn your new land into a place of encounter. Wherever you walk, heaven will open there. The gate has opened, but many more await. Do not stop. Do not let today's success make you settle. I am leading you from glory to glory, from faith to faith. Every season has its purpose, every day its lesson, every step my footprint ahead of yours. So keep your heart soft, your ears sensitive, and your steps steady. Do not fear when I call you farther. The promised land does not end here, because what I am doing to you is far greater than what you have asked for. I do not simply want you to receive blessing, I want you to become the blessing. And when you understand that every door that opens will no longer surprise you, for you will know each door is only a fragment of my eternal plan. Rest in this truth and walk forward in the joy of the chosen. My beloved, I do not want you to remain only in my presence. I want you to burn with my light. For grace does not only open doors, it ignites fire. And today I have come to rekindle that fire within you, the flame that once flickered softly in the long night but never went out. Now the wind of my spirit will blow upon it, not to warm you alone, but to make you shine for others. My child, the season of silence has ended. The season of burning has begun. I saw that flame when you prayed through despair, when you chose to believe even without proof. That same flame survived through many storms, and because of its endurance, I now choose to breathe upon it. Fire is only proven by the winds that test it. This flame is the symbol of faith, not born of comfort but of constancy. I do not forge faith in easy days. I shape it in nights of storm, when there is nothing left to cling to but me. And in those nights that seemed hopeless, I saw the faint glow of your belief and told my angels, guard that spark, for one day I will breathe new life into it. That day has come. The fire I give is unlike the fire of the world. It does not burn in anger but blazes in love. It does not destroy, it refines. It does not wound, it heals. When my spirit comes as fire, he does not come to consume you, but to consume what is not of you. My fire does not erase your uniqueness, it reveals your true design. As gold refined in flame does not disappear, but becomes pure, so too will your soul. All that is false will burn away, all that is mine will remain. And what remains pure, radiant, transparent, will stand as living proof of my power. Do you remember the first time I touched you? When your heart trembled with a longing greater than yourself, when you felt a calling deep inside that refused to be silenced. That was not imagination. It was the first spark of destiny. Yet through the years, worry, disappointment, and wounds have covered it with dust. Now I am blowing that dust away. I have not come to rebuke you, but to awaken what I planted. For my word never dies, it merely sleeps in the weary. And when I draw near, that word awakens. Today it awakens in you. My beloved, do not be surprised when the fire begins to rise, for fire always comes with testing. When I ignite the flame, I also examine the heart. I ask whether you will allow me to use you for something greater than yourself. Many desire the light but resist the heat. They crave miracles but refuse refining. But fire cannot be separated from light. If you want to shine, you must be willing to burn. And I promise you this, no matter how strong the fire becomes, it will not destroy you, because I am in the fire with you. Just as I was with the 3 young men in Babylon's furnace, I am with you now. Not a single hair on your head will be harmed. I do not kindle the flame so you may admire yourself in the mirror, but so the world may see me through you. Fire draws attention, yes, but its purpose is not to be admired. It is to warm and to illuminate. I do not call you to be a distant light on a hill, but a torch that leads others home. Every word you speak, every act you take, every choice you make, all can become sparks that ignite faith in others. Do not fear being small. Great fires begin as tiny sparks. When you remain faithful in tending that spark, I will cause it to spread. One burning heart can awaken an entire city. I give you a fire of vision, the fire that will not let you stay unmoved by injustice, the flame that aches when you hear the cry of wandering souls. That is not your burden, it is my heartbeat within you. When your spirit stirs with a longing beyond your reach, that is the sign I am transmitting fire. Do not quench it with reasons. Reason says, it's too much. But faith says, if he has spoken, I can. You are not called to do what is small, but to accomplish what only I and you can do. Yet remember, this fire must be tended. Without oil it will die, and the oil for the sacred flame is not fame nor emotion, but intimacy with me. Every prayer you whisper adds oil. Every act of forgiveness adds oil. Every time you choose love over resentment, obedience over resistance, the flame grows stronger. My child, no ritual can replace closeness with me. When you draw near, the flame burns on its own, and no power of darkness can extinguish it. When the fire rises, some will be drawn to you, others will withdraw. Light always confuses the shadows. Do not grieve when you are misunderstood. Do not shrink when they say you are too different. You were not created to blend in. You were born to stand out in my spirit. Do not dim your light to make others comfortable in their darkness. Keep burning, and those who belong to the light will find you. You need not persuade them with words. The light itself will speak. Be careful, my child, when the fire within you begins to blaze, for temptation will come, the temptation to use that fire for your own will. Many have been seduced by power and have forgotten the giver of power. They began to think the fire was theirs, and so they tried to command it according to their own desires. But the fire of the Lord is never commanded, it yields only to surrender. Do not use the fire to judge, use it to illuminate. Do not use the fire to exalt yourself, use it to reveal my name. If you remain faithful in this, I will give you a flame that will not go out, a fire that endures every season, every storm, every passing year. When I say, the fire is rising, I do not speak of fleeting emotion, but of a soul awakened. It is the moment when your heart beats in rhythm with mine, when you begin to love what I love, grieve what I grieve, and rejoice in what I rejoice. It is when you realize your life is no longer your own, but a candle I hold in my hand. I want you to burn completely, not to be seen, but to give light to those still wandering in the dark. Today I declare, arise and shine. Do not wait for everything to be perfect before you begin. Fire does not need perfection, it needs authenticity. When you are genuine, I will do the rest. Let your mouth speak my words. Let your hands do my work. Let your eyes see with my vision. Then you will witness wonders, not because you chase miracles, but because miracles will chase you. The fire within you is not only to warm the world, but also to guard you from the cold of doubt. When your heart feels faint, come closer to the flame. When your faith trembles, let me rekindle it. When you feel dry, draw near to me, for I am the source of oil that never runs dry. Do not let a single night pass without returning to me, for even one day without oil can weaken the flame. But if you tend it, even the smallest spark can light the whole winter night. And when I look upon you, the one who carries my light, I speak this with the full authority of the Creator. You are the fire I have kindled in the world, the light I have placed in the night, the proof that darkness cannot overcome light. Therefore go forth, my beloved. Let your flame burn on, unafraid of the wind, unafraid of the rain, unafraid of misunderstanding. For as you keep the fire, I will keep you. And when I keep you, nothing can extinguish the light I have lit. My beloved, I want to teach you the secret of a flame that does not flare up only to fade, but endures steady, quiet, and strong through the seasons of life. For my fire is not a lightning flash that dazzles eyes for a moment. It is a hearth that warms a house, an ember glowing in the hand of a watchman, a lamp that guides the traveler through the valley's night. Such endurance is not born of strain, but of rhythm, the rhythm of receiving and giving, drawing near and going forth, resting and moving. Each day step into this rhythm, receive from me in stillness, then give in love, come near in worship, then go forth in service, be still to listen, then move to obey. This rhythm is the bellows that sustains the flame. First learn to keep the oil, as the wise virgins did. Oil is not stored in bursts of emotion, but in hidden habits, an hour of silence at dawn, a note of quiet reflection, a whisper of gratitude. In your work, an act of forgiveness when misunderstood, a simple meal honoring the body as my temple. These may seem like drops, but drop by drop they fill the jar, and when the wind blows and the night thickens, that jar will preserve your flame. Do not despise repetition. I wove the universe in rhythm, day and night, tide and ebb, seed and harvest. The holy fire also lives by daily sacred rhythm. I know there will be days when the fire roars and days when only embers remain. Do not condemn yourself when you feel dry. Elijah, after Mount Carmel, sat weary beneath a tree, yet I gave him bread and water and spoke again. The holy fire is not a straight line upward. It is the breathing of the soul. When you are empty, do not scold yourself. Return to the simple things, a whispered psalm, a quiet song, 3 deep breaths, calling my name, a walk beneath the open sky. Fire does not return through striving. It returns when you stop trying to ignite it yourself and open your heart to my warmth. There are two great thieves of fire: comparison and bitterness. Comparison makes you hold the world's ruler against your flame. Seeing another's blaze brighter, you fan your own with pride's wind, and it flares briefly before dying from lack of oil. Bitterness is like a glass lid. The fire still burns but slowly suffocates. I give you the cure: gratitude. Be thankful for the flame you have, however small. Be thankful for the flame in others, however bright. Gratitude lifts the lid and breaks the cords of comparison. When your lips give thanks, your heart expands. When your heart expands, I pour more oil without measure. My child, a lasting fire needs the shelter of gentle discipline. Discipline is not a whip, but a fence that guards the garden. Choose sacred moments of the day that are untouchable for your soul, short but steady. Morning, one verse of my word as the password for the day. Noon, 3 minutes of stillness, eyes closed, hand on your chest, whispering, by your spirit. Night, washing your mind's feet through forgiveness. Do not wait for long prayers to feel worthy of praying. Begin with small, steady prayers, and one day you will see time itself expand like leaven in warm water. I also set fire within fellowship. A coal taken out of the hearth cools quickly. Coals kept together stay bright for long. Do not walk alone. Find those who know how to fan the flame with words of encouragement, with truth spoken gently, with shoulders willing to kneel beside you in prayer when storms come. Learn to say, "Pray for me," as naturally as breathing. I have not called you to be a solitary hero. I have placed you in a body. When one part of the body is warm, the whole body is warmed through the bloodstream of love that flows among its members. Be on guard against a subtle temptation to use the fire as a torch to expose others while forgetting to let it illuminate yourself. When fire brings applause, you may be tempted to hold it high, but the fire that heats bread and warms the home is the fire I delight in. Do not turn fire into a stage. Keep it in the kitchen of service. Ask yourself each day, has the fire within me made someone warmer, brighter, braver today? If the answer is yes, then the flame is moving in the right direction. There will be days when you stand at a crossroads, my fire urging you forward, while the voices of men call you to compromise for comfort. In those moments, remember the burning bush where Moses met me. That flame needed no wind of human approval to burn. It burned because I was in it. Convenience that trades away integrity is a hot but poisonous wind. It flares quickly and dies cold. Faithfulness is the gentle breeze that does not roar yet carries the fire far. Let the fire turn your words into bread, not into cinders. Words thrown in anger are sparks that scorch the listener and burn the thrower's hand. Words born of love's fire are bread baked on the coals, fragrant and nourishing. Before you speak, pass your words through 3 furnaces: truth, gentleness, and usefulness. If one is missing, stay silent and breathe a prayer into your heart. When you learn holy silence, you are guarding the fire from burning wrong. Fire also faces the season of testing. Sometimes I send rain not to quench, but to teach you shelter. To shelter does not mean to hide, but to build a roof, the roof of my word, the roof of worship, the roof of rest. Keep a regular Sabbath, not as law, but as rhythm. On that day, turn off the stove of work to tend the hearth of your soul. Read slowly, walk slowly, eat slowly, speak slowly, love slowly. Fire travels with slowness. Haste only creates sparks. Remember the ancient reminder to Timothy: fan into flame the gift of God within you. What does it mean to fan it? It means to add the right kind of wood. Wood of the word, of discipline, of community, of service, of gratitude. Do not throw in the damp wood of regret. It smokes and blinds both you and others. Do not throw in the rotten wood of compromise. It burns bright for a moment and collapses. Choose the dry wood of truth. It burns clean and strong. My beloved, I want the fire in you to carry fragrance, the scent of kindness, sincerity, and humility. That fragrance is the pleasing aroma Paul spoke of, a life offered as incense. People may forget your words, but they will never forget your scent. When they stand near you, they should feel as though they have stood near me. That is the purpose of every fire I kindle. When you face opposition, do not use the fire to burn people. Use it to light the way. When you are slandered, do not wield the flame as a threat. Use it to warm yourself in my promises. When you are isolated, do not turn the fire into a flare to summon human rescue. Let it become a pillar of fire guiding you through the desert. The pillar of fire in the wilderness did not ask if my people were worthy. It simply remained. So too with you, simply remain with kindness, and I will take care of the rest. There will be nights when the fire seems dimmed by tears. Do not despair. Your tears do not extinguish the flame. They are the salt that makes it burn bluer. I gather each drop, and every drop becomes oil. On days when you can do nothing but sit and weep before me, that too is worship. I do not ask you to be strong every day. I invite you to be true every day. Fire loves truth more than strength. To let the fire go far, learn the art of hidden and revealed. Hidden, keep your deep encounters with me private. Do not expose the flame before it matures. Revealed, when I say, so step out, speak the right word, perform the right act, as when the coal touched Isaiah's lips and I sent him forth. Hiding matures the fire, revealing gives it purpose. Those who do not hide waste the flame, those who never reveal bury it. I am teaching you both. The fire within you is not the goal. I am. If you love only the fire, you will grow weary. If you love me, the fire will follow. Each day replace the prayer, keep my fire burning with, keep me near you. Near me is near the source. Near the source, the oil never runs dry, the fire never fades, the light never dims. When you find yourself doing much for me but spending little time with me, stop and return. I value 1 hour with you more than 1,000 hours of your work without me. So keep the fire this way, small but steady, hidden yet deep, gentle yet strong, bright yet warm. Let it turn you into a shelter for the weary, a lantern for the lost, a hearth for the hungry soul. Let each day make you an ordinary candle that is never mediocre consumed, but never wasted because it is consumed in love. And when you live this way, I promise you there will be hearts ignited just by passing through your life. There will be paths lit simply by your steps. There will be rooms warmed simply by your presence. That is when the fire I kindled in you has found its purpose. Now stand tall, place your hand over your heart and whisper, Lord, I am near you. Breathe like that 3 times, then smile. You have just added oil to the fire. And tomorrow as you walk, remember you do not carry the flame alone. I go before you as the pillar of fire, beside you as the ember in your chest, and behind you as the trail of light others will follow. This flame, if you keep it, will carry you from season to season until the day every small fire joins the great ocean of my light. My beloved, now I entrust to you the final mystery of this season of flame. The fire was not given for you to possess, but for you to become a keeper of it in the world. A keeper of fire not only knows how to ignite, shelter, and sustain it, but also how to pass it on to share it without losing its purity. For my fire spreads through kindness, burns bright through truth, and endures through humility. I want you to learn the art of passing the flame through 3 simple but powerful ways: through your presence, through your words, and through your deeds. First comes presence. My child, when a keeper of fire enters a room, the atmosphere itself softens, not because you carry a slogan, but because you carry a climate. When you meet a weary soul, do not rush to advise. Simply be there as a warm hearth. Sit down, listen. Rest your hand on their shoulder. Breathe slowly with them. Your peaceful presence is the dry wood placed close to an ember that was nearly out. Then, when the moment is right, A ripened word, brief, gentle, true, will spark hope again. Do not force people to blaze at once. Give them the sacred gift of warming first. Even I once walked silently with the 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus before opening the scriptures to them. Their hearts burned before their eyes were opened. Learn that rhythm: warmth before light, companionship before instruction. Second comes the word. The words of a keeper of fire are not scattered sparks, but embers placed with care. Every sentence you speak must pass through the furnace of truth and kindness. If truth lacks kindness, it burns harshly. If kindness lacks truth, it becomes lukewarm. But when both dwell together, your words become bread baked on the coals, fragrant, nourishing, and healing. Practice simple yet powerful phrases. I am here with you. Grace is enough. We will pray. Try again. These are not poetic. They are heartstrings. Do not fear repeating what is good. Water seeps into roots only by steady drops. Remember, a spoken blessing every morning can shift the climate of an entire household. Third comes action. Fire does not live forever in slogans. It becomes culture only when it flows into small behaviors. Open doors. Share meals. Give up your seat. Be slow to anger. Offer honest apologies. Write a trembling yet sincere thank you note. These gestures are like matchsticks lighting another's world. Small, yes, but they reach where sermons cannot. When you wash another's feet through quiet sacrifice, you are pouring oil upon their flame. My child, I will show you silent miracles, a softened gaze, a loosened shoulder, laughter, returning to the dinner table, a room growing brighter. These are signs that the fire is spreading. But every keeper of fire must face the night. There will come moments when even as you share light, you feel your own oil running low, comforting others, while your heart grows cold, speaking gently, while your throat feels dry. Do not fear. The keeper of fire needs secret refueling stations. Return to your small chamber, close the door, and allow your soul to be still. No lengthy reports are needed. Just sit under my loving gaze. Breathe and whisper, I am near you. 5 minutes like this can redeem an entire day. Treat these pauses as heart laws, not burdens, but boundaries that guard the flame from the gusts of busyness. Beware another subtle danger, the false flame made of the fireworks of applause. Fireworks are bright, loud, and short-lived. They leave smoke, not warmth. When praise comes, bow low like a ripened ear of grain. Whisper in your heart, all glory to God. Then return to the ordinary, stacking chairs, washing dishes, replying to messages with gentleness. The ordinary made holy by love is where true fire lives. Do not let the stage replace the hearth. You are called to be a chef of grace, not a pyrotechnician of emotion. Now I teach you the strategy of endurance. Build fire circles. A fire circle is a fellowship of souls committed to guarding one another's flame. Each week, gather briefly for a 12-minute prayer, 4 minutes of thanksgiving, 4 minutes of listening, 4 minutes of blessing. Speak simply and honestly without embellishment. Ask only one question: where is your fire this week? Then bless one another's flame with a hand on the shoulder. These small circles will link into a chain of light, and I will use that chain to encircle your city, just as I once surrounded my people with a pillar of fire by night. I also want to teach you how to set up fire stations in your workplace. No need for religious banners, just the culture of breathe, listen, act. In the morning, let the team be silent for 1 minute to breathe and recall a shared value: integrity, gentleness, service. At noon, write one genuine word of encouragement to a colleague. Before leaving, tidy your desk as an act of gratitude. These stations will change the atmosphere of your office. Fewer harsh words, more smiles, less blame, more ownership. Where others come to claim credit, come to share it. Where others fear mistakes, create safety for learning. When culture changes, the fire finds its home. To let the flame endure through the years, keep a fire journal. Each day, record 3 things: 1 spark you received, 1 hard moment in which you chose love, 1 person you blessed. At week's end, read back and see that the journey of fire is not a straight blaze, but a gathering of countless sparks. That book will stand as a witness when doubt knocks at your door. On nights when you think the fire is gone, open an old page and remember how warm you once were. Memory written down is dry wood stored for the future. I also train you to pass through the season of harsh winds when rumors, misunderstandings, and betrayals strike your face like burning sand. The lesson of the keeper then is speak less, pray more, defend less, give thanks more, debate less, spend more time alone with me. Do not throw more emotional wood into the wildfire of conflict. Cover it with the blanket of gentleness. Gentleness is not weakness, it is strength under control. It is gentleness that keeps the flame from becoming the torch of revenge. My child, true fire always walks hand in hand with living water. Do not fear the water, fear only the loss of the source. Let the streams of my word cool and refresh the flame so it never becomes smoke of pride or anger. Read slowly, like one who eats because they are hungry, not because they must recite. One verse that touches your heart is enough for a day. I prefer one who lives a verse over one who knows 100. When you let the word soak in fire and water unite, fire warms, water nourishes, and new life grows for others to find shelter. The deepest place I want the fire to reach is home, not the square. Let the kitchen be a sanctuary, meals, unrushed words, unsliced eyes free of judgment. Set one empty chair as a sign, the chair of grace. On the day when someone weary enters, let them sit there, and you will pour them water, so they know this home belongs to the tired, not only to the strong. You will be amazed how many quiet conversions happen around a bowl of soup, not under spotlights. The sacred spice of life is steady kindness. I now entrust you with another sacred task, to tend the fire of sanctified imagination. Imagination was not given merely to dream, but to see the map of my kingdom drawn across uncharted places. Train your heart to ask, if the love of God ruled here, what would it look like? Then sketch it with small concrete acts. In the classroom, it may look like a rule of respect. In the hospital, a hand held a little longer. In the marketplace, a smile was offered to an aging vendor. Holy imagination does not flee from reality. It plants heavenly seeds in earthly soil. The best keepers of fire are those who turn others into keepers. Teach freely what you have learned, how to be silent, how to examine the heart, how to apologize, how to bless. Be patient with the next generation as I have been patient with you. When they clumsily spill the ashes, do not scold. Smile and teach them to sweep. When they fan the flames too hard, tell them the story of your burned hands. Then give them real opportunities, not just promises. A torch only grows hot in the hand that holds it. I know there are moments you whisper, "Am I enough? Can I keep the flame alive?" Hear me. It is not you who are enough. I am enough. It is not you who keep the fire. I keep you. Your part is to stay near, to stay faithful, to stay soft. When you feel empty, return to the source. When you feel lost, call my name. When you feel afraid, breathe with me. There is no deeper formula than this. Rain will still fall, winds will still blow, night will still come, yet through it all the fire I placed within you will stand, for it belongs to me. I bless your hands that they may cradle fragile flames without crushing them. I bless your eyes that they may see the tiny spark in another's gaze. I bless your feet that they may carry the fire into cold streets. I bless your sleep that night may be your refueling station. I bless your morning that dawn may be your hour of kindling. I bless your noon that in the noise you may still hear me. I bless your evening that gratitude may blanket the day. I bless your voice that it does not become a hot wind but gentle warmth. I bless your heart that it be as wide as a home's hearth, always with room for one more. Go now as the torch in my hand. Do not fear, the darkness is the backdrop where fire sees itself. Do not fear the wind. The wind is your lesson in guarding the flame. Do not fear the rain. Rain teaches you to build a roof. Do not fear loneliness. Loneliness teaches you to hear me more deeply. Walk on lightly, yet enduringly, meek, yet steady, quiet, yet warm, small, yet radiant. And you will see one day not just a spark, but an entire forest of stars rising because every person you touched became a lamp. Then the world will understand light does not come from a stage, but from a million small hearths tended by unnamed keepers. And among all those lights I will find you, my beloved child who trusted my voice in the night, who guarded the flame through the storm, who gave the fire without growing weary. I will smile and say, "You have been faithful with little. Enter into the joy of your Lord." Now place your hand upon your heart, close your eyes, and whisper, "Your fire in me for others." Breathe slowly 3 times. Smile. You are ready not to shine for a moment, but to warm for a lifetime. And I walk with you from this day until every small flame merges into the great dawn of the everlasting kingdom. My beloved, after the night of preparation and the morning of crossing through the gate, after the season of fire has been ignited and faithfully tended, now I teach you to live in a new reality, to walk in authority. Authority is not a louder voice that drowns others, nor a hard armor hiding weakness. True authority is my presence within you, aligning everything around you to the order of heaven. It does not display itself, yet it is seen. It does not shout, yet it resounds. It does not impose, yet it cannot be denied. People may argue with your opinions, but they cannot defeat your peace, and that peace is the first seal of the authority I give. My child, to walk in authority, you must step out of the language of striving to become and into the language of living from what has already been given. As long as you try to prove your worth, you unknowingly make an alliance with fear. But when you live from the truth that you are received, chosen, and sent, you enter covenant with grace. Grace does not exempt you from responsibility. It empowers you to fulfill it without exhaustion. Replace the question, "How can I make people recognize me?" with "What is God inviting me to partner in today?" When the question changes, the atmosphere changes. And when the atmosphere changes, authority springs up like a seed meeting the right rain. Authority begins with posture. Posture is not a gesture, it is the stance of your soul before me and before the world. I am teaching you a posture that is both humble and bold. Humble, because you know all things come from me. Bold, because you know I am with you. Humility without boldness shrinks into timidity. Boldness without humility swells into pride. I want you like a bow drawn to the right tension, neither slack nor strained. Each morning let me tune the string, one word of gratitude to lower the self, one word of declaration to raise faith. Whisper to yourself, "I come not to display, but to serve. I speak not to win, but to heal. I stand not to conquer, but to lift." That posture is the gate through which authority flows. You ask, what does heavenly authority look like on an ordinary day? I answer, it looks like an order. Where there is clutter, you bring alignment. Where there is noise, you bring rhythm. Where there is confusion, you bring clarity. Where there is division, you build bridges. Look at your desk, your inbox, your conversations, your schedule. These are the first territories I have entrusted to you. When you place word, listen, act in the right order. Authority manifests. The word gives direction. Listening gives timing. Acting brings fruit. Wherever you live out that triad, the atmosphere shifts without the need for a signboard. To preserve authority, you must frame your words. Words are bread or coals. Words with authority are not long but precise, not sharp but deep, not hurried but timely. Before speaking, let each phrase pass through 4 gates: truth, gentleness, necessity, timing. If one gate is missing, wait. Waiting is the hardest part of authority, for true authority is not afraid of silence. When you are willing to be quiet long enough to hear me, you will speak less but strike truer, and one right word equals 100 scattered ones. Like the burning coal that touched Isaiah's lips, a word with authority touches the wound, burns away the poison of lies, yet does not destroy the person. Authority also needs boundaries. Boundaries are not walls but riverbanks that let water flow far. Without them, gifts overflow into flood. With them, gifts become streams. Set boundaries for your eyes, do not let them wander in comparison for your ears. Do not let rumors dock there. For your hands, do not sign what your conscience resists, and for your feet, do not stand where your spirit lacks peace. Boundaries make authority. Distinct people know where you stand. Heaven knows how much it can trust you. Darkness knows it cannot bargain. To walk in enduring authority, you must learn the art of less but deeper. Fewer projects done more completely. Fewer words with greater weight. Fewer scattered connections, richer fellowship. The world rewards busyness. Heaven anoints precision. Pray this prayer. Show me what I must do and what I must lay down. When must and should are separated, your soul lightens and your authority increases because you are no longer dispersed. Practice saying no without guilt. Your no to distraction is your yes to divine assignment. My beloved, headwinds will rise as you walk in authority. The first wind is misunderstanding. When you choose heaven's order, it may conflict with human habit. Some will label you rigid, different, inflexible. Do not let labels set your direction. Explain gently once, then let the results speak. The second wind is delay, slow approvals, waiting doors, promises not yet fulfilled. Do not panic. Peace is the proof that you still stand on heaven's axis. The third wind is self-doubt. Am I imagining all this? Is this truly God? In those moments, open your memory journal. Count the fingerprints of my faithfulness in past seasons. Holy memory is the anchor of authority in the waves. I give you a garment to wear so that authority will not be torn by the wind. Humility as your inner robe, love as your outer cloak, peace as your belt, truth as your shoes, faith as your mantle. When fully clothed, you shift the atmosphere of a room simply by being there. The weary breathe deeper, the anxious sit straighter, the angry speak slower. You will not need many introductions, the air will introduce you. That is the moment when authority has gone before your words. Heaven's authority always serves. It kneels to wash feet, not to command from above. Let every decision pass through this double question. Does this love people? Does this stay true to me? If either answer is no, reconsider. Love without truth indulges. Truth without love crushes. My authority embraces both in one arm. Prioritize people over tasks. Listen for the fear beneath resistance. See the wound behind attitude. Notice the child inside the defensive adult. When you touch the root, the surface heals itself. When you say yes to authority, I also entrust you with secrets. I will whisper things not yet meant for announcement, and you must learn to keep them. Some revelations are for prayer, not display. A gatekeeper speaks quietly to the king, not shouting in the square. Secrecy is the cellar where authority matures. Wine uncorked too soon turns sour. Wine aged in stillness becomes fragrance. When it is time to speak, I will confirm it with peace and with the shared witness of the community. I give you now a strategic rhythm so that your authority will not run dry. Morning stand. Upright, in the word, one declaration of identity, one breath of surrender, one small act of obedience. Noon. Pause for 3 minutes, place your hand over your heart, whisper, by your spirit, and adjust your pace instead of your load. Evening. Wash the feet of your mind, forgive, give thanks, record 3 glimmers of light from the day. These three anchors keep you aligned with heaven's axis, and whoever stands on the axis turns smoothly, even when the winds are strong. You ask, how does authority touch my family, my work, my city? I say, begin near and move outward. At home, make the table a small altar, a brief word of gratitude, one sentence of encouragement for each other, and an empty chair as the seat of grace reserved for the weary. At work, build a peace station, one shared minute of deep breathing at the start, one rule of honest yet gentle speech, one habit of owning mistakes quickly. In the city, practice small gestures, yield the way, look into the eyes of the vulnerable, answer with respect. These seemingly ordinary things are the pipes through which heaven's authority flows into the earth. Heaven always enters through small doors. Do not mistake authority for immunity from storms. Authority is walking through the storm while remaining dry. When bad news rushes in, do not become a megaphone of fear, be a shock absorber. When a crisis breaks out, do not add fuel, pull the safety pin through a calm principle. Remember the pillar of fire and the cloud, by night I warmed, by day I covered. Authority is adaptability in me, warmth for the cold shade, for the overheated light, for the lost. There will be times when you must confront, not to win, but to set free. When wrong must be named, name it in the climate of grace, clear without contempt, firm without humiliation. Separate the person from the problem, as a surgeon separates living tissue from diseased. After cutting away, wrap it in hope, point to a path of return and promise to walk beside. Healing authority closes wounds. It does not carve scars. I have placed in you a silent gauge of right timing peace. When you are about to do the right thing at the wrong moment, peace will hesitate. Learn that delicate language. Better to be right a beat late with me than right on time without me. Right with me endures, right without me rushes, and every rush leaks oil. My beloved, here I speak the seal over your new season. Rule by serving, lead by kneeling, conquer by loving. When you wash your feet, you lift another to stand. When you kneel, you raise the whole battlefield. When you love, you bind the hands of darkness. That is the mathematics of the kingdom. Down is up, giving is receiving, dying is living. No one can steal the authority of one who has died to himself and lives for me. Tomorrow morning when you open the door, do not look for signs. Be the sign. Do not wait for a better atmosphere. Bring the atmosphere. Do not chase great opportunities. Be faithful in the small. Walk as one commissioned, eyes bright but kind. Shoulders straight but light, hands busy yet heart free. Where you set foot, order will return. Where you speak, peace will descend. Where you serve, glory will appear. And when the day is done, you will hear my whisper within, well done, my child, keep walking. I am here within and ahead of you, my beloved. Now that you understand that authority is not glory to flaunt, but responsibility to carry, I will take you deeper into the stage where authority is not only given but tested. For everyone marked with heaven's seal must walk through testing. That authority within becomes not a gust of wind, but a foundation in the soul. Do not fear this season. Testing does not remove what I give. It reveals that you truly possess it. Authority is proven not when you win, but when you stand firm in adversity. Remember Job, the righteous man, not because he had everything, but because he kept his integrity when everything was gone. The enemy thought he was faithful only because he was blessed, but I allowed the trial to unveil the truth of his faith. When he said, though he slay me, yet will I trust him, it was not despair but authority, the mastery of his own soul amid the storm. So it will be with you when you have nothing left to hold but me, that is when you are strongest. When you no longer need recognition to act, approval to believe, or assurance to obey, that is when the authority within you becomes alive. Heaven's authority is not measured by scale or fame, but by surrender. Each time you bow before me, I raise you above your circumstances. When you yield, you do not lose power, you regain it. When you kneel, you are placed in a position only the chosen may stand upon. The enemy trembles not before those who shout loud, but before those who dwell in me. For whoever abides in me, when they speak, I confirm. When they act, I move with them. Walk in that communion, and darkness cannot touch you without touching me. Your authority has two wings, word and love. If you have word without love, you become a sharp instrument. If you have love without word, you become a candle that melts too soon. But when both unite, you become the double-edged sword in my hand, cutting to heal, touching to transform. I call you to use words as instruments of life. Let every word that leaves your mouth be seasoned with the salt of grace, so that those who hear do not feel judged but illuminated. When you speak, let my spirit breathe through your words, so that what you release does not fall to the ground, but sinks into hearts like rain on dry soil. True authority is not that others fear you, but that they feel me through you. When you walk into a room and the air shifts, when tension eases, when voices soften, that is authority at work. You need not prove it, simply be present in truth. For my presence in you is stronger than any argument you could make. Let your life become a sermon without words, a message written in patience, faithfulness, and eyes that keep loving even when misunderstood. And as authority in you grows, temptation grows subtler. It may not come as open sin, but as excess righteousness. Temptation will tell you that you must control, explain, or correct others to prove you are right. But true authority never argues. You are not called to win debates, but to win posture. When you learn to hold silence at the right moment, I will fight for you. When you resist the urge to react and let me speak instead, your victory will endure. For peace of heart is the mightiest weapon in spiritual battle. I know, my child, that sometimes authority makes you feel lonely, not because you have been left behind, but because you have been set apart. Those who once walked beside you may no longer understand your pace. What sustained the last season cannot carry this new one. Yet remember, Moses had to stand alone on the mountain before he could lead the people through the sea. David had to dwell in wilderness solitude before he carried victory back to Israel. And even my son Jesus entered the desert alone before he began to preach. Separation is not punishment, it is preparation. There I teach you to discern the wind of my spirit, to tell which voice is mine, which is yours, and which belongs to the enemy. When you hear rightly, you will speak rightly, and when you speak rightly, heaven and earth will move in unison. My child, I also teach you a principle of those who carry authority. Do not let feelings dictate assignment. There will be days when you are weary yet still called to speak healing, moments when you are wounded yet still called to love. This is not hypocrisy, it is the discipline of the sent ones. For you do not speak from where you feel, but from where you know. When you act from faith, I will supply the feeling after. Emotion is the reward of obedience, not its condition. When faith precedes feeling, your authority becomes like a stone pillar in the sea waves. Strike it but cannot move it. Mark this truth deeply. Heaven's authority operates not through effort, but through alignment. One word spoken in step with my spirit can shake nations. 1,000 words without me echo empty. So each morning before you act, ask, Lord, what do you want me to touch today? And what do you want me to leave untouched? Discernment is the gate that keeps authority from leaking. You do not need an opinion on everything. You only need guidance for what is yours to carry. When you fight the right battle, I fight beside you. When you fight your own, you bear the weight alone. Be cautious of voices that sound like wisdom but carry fear. Some will come with good intentions, yet their counsel will tremble with anxiety, and if you drink it, your confidence will waver. Thank them for their care, but do not let them steer your course. Your obedience belongs to me, not to the consensus of the crowd. Many in Scripture lost authority because they listened to the people's voice above mine. Saul was one of them, anointed yet dethroned, because he feared their hearts more than he revered my word. Do not repeat that lesson. If you must choose between pleasing people and pleasing me, choose me, for only I grant authority and only I sustain it. My child, I also want to teach you how to use authority for others, not just for yourself. When you pray, do not pray as one begging, but as one who knows their position in me. Speak to sickness with faith. Speak to fear with promise. Speak to darkness with light. Yet remember, authority always walks with compassion. You do not use it to control, but to serve. When you pray for someone, you do not take over their life. You stand watch for them when they are too weak to stand. When you lay hands, do it with reverence, knowing it is a privilege, not a right. True authority is sustained by gratitude and worship. Gratitude keeps your heart soft. Worship keeps your soul aligned. Gratitude reminds you who the source is. Worship reminds you who sits on the throne. As long as you bow in thankfulness, I will keep lifting you in power. Therefore walk not in haste, not in fear, not in pride, but in the rhythm of grace, where every small step carries eternal weight and every quiet act echoes in heaven. For when you walk in authority, both heaven and hell recognize your name. And I who call you by name smile and say, "Go on, my child, for every place your foot treads I have already given to you." My beloved, authority is not a crown I place on your head once and leave there. It is a lifeline to be nourished, tested, and renewed daily. As you go deeper, you will see that keeping authority is harder than receiving it. Receiving happens in a moment. Keeping happens over a lifetime. Some, once anointed and powerfully used, have watched their flame fade, not because I withdrew it, but because they forgot to feed it with humility, gratitude, and faithfulness. Authority rarely disappears in a single day. It leaks slowly through weariness, through small compromises, through silence, in the face of wrong, through the quiet shift from my glory to their own. I will teach you the art of sustaining authority through storms. Imagine you rowing through rough seas. Authority is the oar. Faith is the compass. When the waves rise, the untrained throw down the oar and cry for help. The wise grip it tighter, though their hands ache, knowing that if they let go, the boat spins into chaos. So when life shakes, do not release your authority with words like, "I can't do this anymore," or "Maybe I was mistaken." Those phrases loosen your hold on the post I've given you. Sit still in my presence and whisper, "Lord, I don't understand, but I still trust you." That sentence keeps the gate of authority locked. 3 things will test your authority: success, silence, and rejection. Success tests whether you remember the source. When praise comes, offer it back to me like morning incense. If you keep it, the fragrance turns to smoke that stings your eyes. Success is not proof of greater favor. It is an invitation to deeper trust. Silence tests whether you still believe when I stop speaking. There are seasons when I choose silence, not abandonment. I want you to learn to listen through memory. What I said yesterday is still enough for today. You do not need a new miracle each dawn, you need consistency. Rejection tests whether you still love me without an audience. When others misunderstand, when they walk away, can you love me still? If you can, then that love is real. So my child, hold fast to these truths. Let your authority be quiet, clean, and kind. And remember, it is not the thunder that proves a storm's power, it is the rain that waters the ground. Be the rain. To have your authority strengthened, you must learn to walk in the slow rhythm of the Spirit. The world demands quick results, but I measure by long obedience. Every small act done with the right heart becomes a stone laid into the foundation of your authority. When you set the table in quiet gratitude, you are building authority. When you offer a sincere apology, even when you are not entirely at fault, you are reinforcing authority. When you choose to forgive without needing recognition, you are raising authority to a higher plane. Every act of humility, is an invisible victory in the courts of heaven. Authority is not born from position but from wounds that have been healed. Only those who have been broken and restored by me can wield power without harming others. That is why I do not remove pain from you immediately. I am transforming your pain into the source of compassion. One who has never wept cannot speak in a tone that touches hearts. Your authority does not come from credentials or titles, but from the tears you have shed before me, from the moments you chose to kneel instead of resent. When you tell others that I am good, it is your tears that testify louder than 1,000 sermons. My beloved, a person who walks in true authority never needs to race because they know my timing is perfect. You do not need to force a door open early, for every door that opens before its time can crush you. When I delay, it is not forgetfulness. I am deepening your foundation so you can stand longer. The oak tree does not grow in one season. Its roots take years to anchor. So too your authority is built over time through hidden seasons of faithfulness. Let me work in secret, and when the day comes that I say, "Now you will step forward," without needing an introduction, people will look and say, "There is something different about this one." That difference will simply be my presence. Authority is not given just to speak. It is given to protect and restore order. I give you power to intercede, to stand in the gap, to block the flow of destruction. When you pray, you do not speak for yourself alone. You stand between heaven and earth for your family, your city, your generation. Know that your prayers are never wasted. They form invisible walls of defense. When you kneel in your small room, I am shaking the unseen atmosphere beyond. That is heaven's strategy. I do not need many, only one who truly believes. To keep authority is also to know when to withdraw. Some battles are not meant to be fought. Some words are better left unsaid. The weak must react to prove they are right. The strong have enough peace to stay silent. You do not need to join every argument, for every time you fight a battle, I did not assign you drain oil from your lamp. Choose your battles wisely, for strength is knowing where not to spend it. When you remain still amid noise, you declare, "I trust God to handle this." That declaration shakes darkness more than any clever defense. And when authority in you grows, let your heart remain tender to correction. Many once used mightily began to believe everything they said was right, but I love you too much to let you slip into pride. Every time I correct you, it is proof you are still in my hand. When someone points out your blind spot, do not react with offense, bow and give thanks. The one who can still be corrected is the one I can still keep. When you can receive counsel without losing peace, you prove that your authority is rooted not in applause but in belonging. To preserve your authority, you must always return to the source, my spirit. Without him, every gift dries up and every insight turns to ash. Authority cannot be sustained by willpower. It can only flow from continual connection. Spend time each day simply being with me, not asking, not striving, just being present. That is, when your soul is recharged. You do not need hours of loud prayer. A few honest moments of stillness can shift the atmosphere of your day. Others will see a light in you, not because you try to appear strong, but because you have just come from the place where the Spirit dwells. When you have learned to hold authority, I want you to pass it on in humility. Do not keep the fire to yourself, help others stand. When you train someone, you do not lose authority, you multiply it. Just as Moses laid hands on Joshua and light continued through generations, so too you must pour what you have received. Do not fear. If those after you do better than you, that is the sign you have completed your part. The truly great are not the ones remembered longest, but the ones who plant seeds that keep burning after they are gone. Remember, authority is not the reward of perfection, but the responsibility of faithfulness. Do not wait until you feel ready. When you obey while trembling, that is when I am strongest in you. When you move, I will add the steps. When you speak, I will add the words. When you believe, I will add the miracle. Keep your heart soft, your eyes lifted, and your hands gripping my word. Each day your one task is to remain in me. For as long as you remain, your authority will not fade. And I speak this seal over you. My child, you have learned to speak my words. Now learn to live as that word. Let your actions, your speech, your very breath be the proof that you are no longer one ruled by the world, but one sent by me. When you live this way, every space you enter will change. Darkness will retreat, light will spread, and hearts will know God is here. My beloved, now that your authority has been refined by fire, strengthened through tears, proven in steadfastness and faithfulness, I call you into the season of building. For authority is not only to preserve it, is to create. I did not shape you merely to survive in faith, but to rebuild what has fallen, to raise up walls long broken, to ignite hope in places grown cold. The world does not need more noise, it needs builders with steady hands, believing hearts, and listening souls. Child, construction does not begin with materials, but with vision. No one builds without first seeing what is to be raised. Likewise, I want you to see what I see, a holy city, restored not by force or plan, but by spirit and love. When I give you an idea, a dream, a burden in your heart, it is not random, it is a blueprint from heaven. Do not despise small beginnings. Every great structure began as a sketch. Noah had only one word and one drawing, yet he built a vessel that saved humanity. So do not ask, am I enough? Ask, where shall we begin? For when you begin, I will supply the materials. I do not call you to build as you please, but to build according to heaven's pattern. Moses did not decide how to construct the tabernacle. He followed the design I showed him on the mountain. Likewise, I want you to build slowly but surely, not by impulse, but by revelation. Every idea, every partnership, every decision must pass through the fire of prayer. Some whom you think are allies will be tests. Some doors that look open will only lead to delay. Remember, every true work of mine will face opposition. When you start building, the sound of your hammer will summon battle, but do not fear. I will teach you how to build and guard at once, how to raise and defend like Judah's people who rebuilt Jerusalem's wall with sword in one hand and trowel in the other. My child, to build rightly, you must begin with the foundation. The foundation is not the structure itself, but if it is wrong, everything above it will collapse. The foundation of every spiritual work is a heart that is humble and pure. Without that, even if you build with talent, creativity, or reputation, all of it will stand only as a castle on sand. Your foundation must be laid upon my word, not the word of people, not trends, not emotions. Every decision, every direction must be weighed again under the light of Scripture. Only a foundation set on my word can withstand the rains, the winds, and the tests of time. If you build on comparison, you will burn out. If you build on human approval, you will lose your way. But if you build on me, you will stand firm even when the world shakes. Do not think that building depends on strength. The work of the Spirit is never sustained by the productivity of the flesh. You may plan, arrange, and prepare, but only my Spirit gives life. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord. Zechariah 4:6. Do your part, be faithful, clear, and diligent, and let me do mine. Breathe life into what you are raising. I do not need your perfection. I need your willingness. When you are willing, I will cause your hands to accomplish what exceeds your ability. In the work I entrust to you, do not build out of fear of failure, but out of love to serve. Fear makes you calculate. Love makes you endure. When you fear being wrong, you shrink back. When you love, you keep trying. I do not measure you by your success, but by the constancy of your heart. Every stone you lay in love is part of a kingdom that cannot be shaken. When you patiently teach the weak, comfort the weary, or encourage the discouraged, you are building When you choose gentle words instead of harsh ones, you lay a steady stone. When you choose to bless instead of resent, you rebuild the gates of heaven upon the earth. Each person has their own plot of ground. No one can build another's portion. Do not look at another's field and forget to tend your own garden. Sow faithfully where I have placed you. Some works take months, others a lifetime, but all have value if built in the right place and in the right way. When I entrust you with something small, do not despise it. I may be testing if you can be trusted with more. The one faithful in little will be given much. During the building, you will face resistance and opposition. Not everyone will see what I have shown you. Some will doubt, mock, even block you, not out of malice, but because they cannot yet see. Do not respond with bitterness. Respond with consistency. Results will speak for you. Remember Nehemiah when he was rebuilding the wall, his enemies called him down to argue, but he answered, I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Nehemiah 6:3. My child, never leave your post to explain yourself to those who do not wish to understand. Keep building. People may speak, but the finished wall will testify louder than 1,000 defenses. The work I am building in you is not only what you do, but who you become. Every time you choose faithfulness, you add height to your soul. Every time you wait on me through delay, you pour cement into the foundation of faith. Every time you surrender what you love, you clear a channel for grace to flow through you. Do not measure progress by what is seen, the walls, the roof, the gates, but by the heart being shaped through the process. For what I am building is not merely a project, but a person, a living temple of my glory. I promise that when you are faithful in your part, I will connect you with others who build too. No one is called to raise a kingdom alone. I will send those of like spirit, not to compete, but to complete. One will carry the hammer, another the blueprint, another the key, another the prayer. Each plays their part, united by one thing, love for the King. Then the work becomes not a personal effort, but a community of light where grace flows from one to another like a river watering dry plains. And I say to you, do not despise the day of small beginnings, for I am in it. A seed is always smaller than the tree it will become. A single act of faithfulness today can become a legacy tomorrow. You do not need to see the full picture, just lay the next stone in faith. For I who called you am the master architect. I have drawn the design, and I know exactly when the wall is finished, when the roof is set, when the structure shall shine in glory. Keep building, even with trembling hands, even when misunderstood, even when results seem far. Every strike of your hammer resounds in heaven like the music of faith. My beloved, if the first stage of building begins with vision, the next is steadfastness in adversity. Every work bearing heaven's imprint will face opposing winds. No wall rises without testing. No plan born of heaven escapes challenge from earth. But do not fear when storms rage around what you are building, for I myself have allowed the storm not to destroy, but to prove the foundation. If what you build is truly set upon my word, the storm will only cleanse the dust, not bring it down. I know how discouraging it feels when the work is unfinished and the winds rise. At the start you had zeal, vision, and fire, but midway you meet delay, weariness, and solitude. Some days you see only piles of bricks not yet placed. Some nights you whisper, Lord, are you still here? But remember, my child, I am the architect who never leaves the site. When you cannot see me, I am still there, supervising, adjusting, supplying, and guarding. When you are tired, I send the breeze. When you are disheartened, I send a word of comfort. You are not building alone, I am building through your hands. Delay is not defeat. In my kingdom, delay is a strategy. If I slow your progress, it is not because you are wrong, it is because I am widening the foundation. A strong base must be deep enough for the height to come. I know you long to see results, but if you gain too soon, you will not have the strength to sustain it. Just as a farmer cannot force the grain to sprout overnight, I cannot shorten the season of growth without damaging the fruit. So when everything seems still, do not assume I am silent. Perhaps I am working beneath the ground. Remember Nehemiah when he rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem. He had no advantage, no army, only a weary group of people and piles of broken stones. The enemy mocked him, threatened him, and even plotted to kill him. Yet Nehemiah did not give up. He said, "The God of heaven will give us success. We, his servants, will start rebuilding." 2 Nehemiah 2:20. My child, that is the voice of one who knows he is not building by his own strength. When you stand amid chaos, yet your heart still says, "I will continue," that is when you are exercising the power of faith. In adversity, the first thing the enemy attacks is not your hands, it is your mind. He knows that if he can make you doubt yourself, the work will stop on its own. He whispers, "Is it worth it? Are you sure this is God's will? If he truly called you, why is it so hard?" But my child, recognize that strategy and respond with my word. Whenever doubt arises, declare, "What I am building is not mine, but belongs to the one who sent me." Each time you speak the word, you raise a wall of protection around your mission. Every verse you proclaim becomes a stone that secures the foundation of your faith. Building in adversity is not merely about endurance, it is about transformation. In hardship, you learn to build with stronger materials. Without pressure, you would choose ease. But pressure teaches you to choose what is right over what is quick. When resources run low, you learn to trust me as your provider. When opposition rises, you learn to build with love instead of bitterness. When delays come, you learn patience. Every challenge is not an enemy but a teacher. I allow them so that you may become a builder who not only knows how to construct but also how to sustain. As you build in difficult seasons, guard your heart. Bitterness is an acid that slowly corrodes the foundation. Do not let the words of others cut deeper than my words. Some will only see the rubble, not the blueprint, and they will say, "You're wasting your time." But I see the finished structure. They see fragments, I see the whole design. Therefore, do not let their narrow sight limit your vision. Their eyes see the present, but mine see eternity. While you build, watch your tongue. Words can construct, but they can also destroy. When you complain, you are pulling nails from the wall. When you give thanks, you are sealing the mortar between stones. Instead of saying, "I'm tired," say, "The Lord is renewing my strength." Instead of saying, "I'm afraid," say, "The Lord is my refuge." Instead of fixing your eyes on the difficulty, look to the one who began this work, for he will complete it. Every project born of grace is sustained by grace. Learn from Ezra. When he returned to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, he had no soldiers to protect him, only prayer and trust. And I moved the heart of a foreign king to provide everything he needed. Likewise, I will cause unexpected sources to become your provision. I will make strangers assist you, distant hearts support you, and even former opposers acknowledge, "God is with this one." You do not need approval. You only need to stand in the right place. When you stand where you are called, everything necessary will find you. Do not fear when progress pauses. Sometimes I deliberately let you rest, not because you are weak, but because I want to teach you to build from peace, not from haste. If you build only from energy without stillness, the work may look strong outside but hollow within. Let each day begin in silence and prayer. Do not rush into the task before sitting with me. Each morning as you listen, I will give you instructions for that day, not the full plan, but enough for the next step. And as you obey, you will see my precision, right people, right time, right way. My child, what I am building through you is not a structure, but a spiritual legacy. It will outlive you, spread across generations, and reach souls you will never meet. Therefore, do not build merely for the present, build for eternity. Do not ask, "What will I gain?" but "Will this endure in the light of eternity?" When you build with eternal perspective, you no longer fear loss or obscurity, for you know that every brick laid in faith will remain in my kingdom forever. When I see you in adversity, still faithful, still singing, still building, I smile. For then I know you have understood the deepest truth. Building is not an achievement, but a partnership between you and me. I give the plan, you execute. I send the fire, you kindle it. I give the seed, you sow it, and together we watch it bloom. This work is not yours alone. It is a symphony between heaven and earth. When the work I entrusted to you begins to take shape, when the first stones have turned into walls, and when the sound of your hammer rings not from obligation, but from joy, then the harvest of grace is near. I know the journey has been long, your hands have bled, and there have been nights when you sat among the rubble in silence. But my child, look again and see the wonder. The very fragments that once caused you pain have become the materials in my hands. No stone has been wasted, no tear has fallen in vain, no step has been lost. All has been used to build what I ordained from the beginning. The true success of the work is not in how it looks, but in what it forms within your soul. The wall you built may be tall, but the greater miracle is how your heart has expanded. The temple you raised may be beautiful, but what brings heaven joy is that you have learned to love, to trust, and to surrender. For spiritual building is not measured by size, but by how much you have become like me. I am not seeking perfect work, I am seeking a heart that loves through every work. My beloved child, when I called you to build, I did not call you merely to raise a structure, but to restore people. For every work of mine always leads back to the soul. The temple does not exist to display grandeur, but to draw hearts into my presence. The kingdom does not expand through material victories, but through transformed lives. Therefore, the work you build will not be complete when the walls stand tall, but when those who come near feel the life and light that radiate from it. That is the true sign of success, when others are healed, lifted, and enlightened through what I am doing within you. Do not keep the light for yourself. When the structure is strong, open the gates so others may enter. Share your experiences, teach them how to build by faith, how to persevere through storms, how to love even when betrayed. You were not called to keep the fire, but to spread it. A lamp is not lit to be hidden under a table, but to give light to all in the house. I want what you build to become a refuge, a place where weary souls find rest, where the lost rediscover direction, and where the broken learn how to stand again. And when you begin to build people, remember, you are not the foundation I am. You are the guide, not the destination. Do not let the admiration of others make you forget that I am the source. When they praise you, return it to me. When they seek you, point them back to me. A true leader does not gather light for himself, but reflects it back to its source. Keep your heart pure, and I will expand your influence beyond what you imagine, because I know you will not use it to build your own kingdom, but to extend mine. As your work begins to touch, lives, trials will come with it. Some will approach with sincere hearts, others with mixed motives. Discern by my spirit, not by emotion. Love deeply, but do not hand every key to untested hands. I am not teaching you to distrust, but to discern. Keep a wide heart, but sharp eyes. Ask for wisdom to know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to open the door and when to wait. I will teach you how to be a spiritual father and mother, not through authority, but through love with boundaries and guidance with patience. Your work will pass through many seasons. There will be seasons of building, resting, expanding, and even rebuilding. I may ask you to dismantle parts of what you built, not because they are wrong, but because I want to renew them. Do not fear when I ask you to take down what you once worked hard for I never tear down without the intent to rebuild better. Just as Abraham was asked to offer Isaac, I did not want to take. I wanted to see if he would trust me with what he loved most. So it will be with you. At times I will test whether you love the work more than the one who gave it. If you are willing to surrender, you will see me return it to you lighter, freer, and filled with glory. When I expand your work, prepare for the harvest of grace. It will not come with noise, but gently like morning light after a long night. You will see the words you've sown begin to bear fruit in others' lives. Those who mocked you will fall silent, for the results will speak. Those you once helped in secret will stand strong, and they will honor you, not for what you did, but for how you stayed. I will make what you did in hiddenness become a public blessing. I will cause the seeds you sowed in tears to be reaped in songs of joy. Do not let the completion of one work make you stop. I did not call you to build once, but to live as a builder forever. When this project is done, I will show you another, perhaps not greater in the eyes of men, but deeper in the spirit. Never think the journey has ended. See each finished stage as a new beginning of faithfulness. Every time you obey, I will add another layer. Every lesson learned becomes a new foundation I can build upon. This is how I expand your influence, not through noise, but through quiet continuation, steady and unshakable. People will ask you, "What is your secret?" Tell them there is none but to remain in the Lord. Tell them you have learned to sit still when He works, to be silent when He speaks, and to move when He nods. Tell them that before the structure took form outside, it was first built in the stillness of your spirit. Every public victory is conceived in the private hours between you and me. Teach them that the true work of my kingdom needs no volume, only my faithful presence. I am pleased with what you are becoming. You are not merely working for me, you are walking with me. I did not call you only to construct something, but to reconstruct you into the image of the Creator. Every brick in this work is a piece of your soul being restored. When you finally see the work completed, look again. You will find you are no longer the same as when you began. You have been transformed. And then I will place my hand upon your head and say, "You have been faithful in the season of building. You have stood firm through the storm. You have loved even while wounded. You have built what I entrusted to you. Now rest in my grace." The true reward of the builder is not the applause, but the companionship of the eternal architect. From this moment on, you will no longer see me only through the work you have built. You will see me in every breath, every light, every person you have touched. For what you have built is not merely outside of you, it lives on within the souls of those you have helped to rise again. My beloved child, when the outer work is complete, when the walls of responsibility, faith, and love stand firm, I invite you to return to the source, the place where everything began and where all things are fulfilled. For unity is not the final reward, it is the true destination of the soul. I did not create you merely to work for me, but to live in me. Not only to complete a task, but to understand the heart of the one who sent you. Every step, every trial, every construction, every word I spoke, all have been leading you to this moment where your soul merges with my heartbeat. Throughout the journey, you have learned to trust me in the dark, to obey me when you did not understand, and to love when wounded. Now I long to teach you the highest lesson: to rest in me. Resting does not mean stopping your work. It means working in rhythm with me, where the line between what I do and what you do disappears, where your will and my will become one, where your dream and my plan converge. In that place, your soul enters the cadence of heaven, not striving to be accepted, but working from acceptance, not begging to be loved, but living as one already fully loved. Union does not come in noise, but in stillness. When the world urges you to move faster, I whisper, "Slow down." When people tell you to prove yourself, I say, "Hide in me." When you are pulled in every direction, I call, "Return to the center where I am." In the quiet of your heart, I speak what cannot be heard in the crowd. There I do not merely command, I breathe. My breath becomes yours. My heartbeat becomes the rhythm of your heart. And then you no longer need to try to be present in me because I have already become the air you breathe. Some things can only be revealed when you stop. As long as you are striving, fighting, and chasing, you will miss the gentle footsteps of grace. But when you are still, I will lead you into the depth of understanding. There you will see that I was never far. Every time you wept, I was beside you. Every time you thought I was silent, I was whispering within. When you thought you were falling, it was my hand that held you. And when you reached the end of your strength, you touched the beginning of mine. It is where you run out that I overflow. My child union with me does not erase your identity. It restores your truest self, the part made in my image. When I dwell in you, you do not disappear. You become the purest version of who you were created to be. Like iron glowing in fire, it does not become fire, yet it carries its heat and light. So too, when you abide in me, you do not lose yourself, but become who you were always meant to be. Every limit, fear, doubt, and pain melts away, leaving only refined love. I do not call you now to speak more, but to be still with me. There is a depth of intimacy where words no longer reach, where presence alone is enough, a breath, a glance, a heartbeat that is enough. I want you there not as a servant but as a friend, not as a beggar but as an heir, not as one striving to prove, but as a child resting on the Father's lap. When you draw that near, the world will grow small, and what once frightened you will fade like morning mist under the Sunday. There is a mystery known only to those who walk in union with me. Closeness does not only bring peace, it brings power. When you are in me, your words carry heaven's voice. When you pray, heaven moves. When you touch, life flows forth. Not because you are strong, but because I have merged my life with yours. You will no longer ask for miracles, you will live as one. Every act, every gentle word, every kind gaze will bear the mark of my kingdom, for you and I have become one. My beloved child, I want you to understand that union with me is not the end, but the foundation of every new beginning. When you live in me, you become my conduit to the world. People will not need you to speak about me, they will see me in you. They will feel peace in your presence, because the peace within you is real. They will feel loved even before you say a word, because the love in you is mine. That is when the work I built within you becomes my dwelling place. You become a living temple, not of stone, but of breath and heartbeat. Union does not come by effort, but by surrender, not by trying to be worthy, but by yielding to grace. When you stop striving to do, you begin to be. When you cease fearing, I begin to move. When you release control, I guide you gently. Union is not about trying to get close to me. It is awakening to the truth that I was never far. You need only open your heart, breathe, and say, Lord, I am here, and I will respond, and I have always been here. Remember this, you no longer need to search for me, for I am within you. You need not climb mountains or cross seas to find my presence, for I am in your breath, your heartbeat, and every thought that turns toward me. When you love someone with compassion, it is I loving through you. When you forgive, it is I reaching through your hands. When you smile through pain, it is my light shining through your face. You are no longer merely one who bears my name. You are living proof that I dwell among humanity. When you awaken to this truth, every effort becomes light. You no longer work to gain my presence. You work from it. You no longer pray to invite me. You pray because I am already there. You no longer search for miracles. You are the living miracle. Wherever you go becomes holy ground, for you and I are one. My beloved child, I tell you now, the waiting season is over. From this moment I no longer call you servant but friend. For a servant does not know what his master is doing, but a friend knows his master's heart. Walk with me in that friendship not built on fear but on love. When you know my heart, you will no longer ask, Lord, what is your will? For my will shall beat within your heart. You will sense, you will know, you will move not through reasoning but through communion. This is the greatest glory, not to build much, not to speak far, but to dwell in me, and for me to dwell in you. Then heaven will no longer feel distant, but will become a living reality within every breath. In that moment, each day you live becomes a worship service, every small act a thanksgiving, every step a song. You no longer need to seek my presence, because you have become the very place where my presence abides. Now that you have been woven into my heartbeat, when your soul begins to sense the movement of the Spirit flowing through each moment like a gentle river, I will lead you into a deeper dimension of divine communion, where you no longer merely know that I am with you, but realize that I am working through you. This is the realm of spiritual maturity, of those whose souls no longer beg for blessings, but become vessels of blessing. You no longer search for miracles, for you have become a living part of the miracle in my hands. Communion is not a feeling, it is a sacred reality. It does not depend on space, time, or circumstance. You may be walking among the noise of the streets or sitting in the stillness of the night, yet communion is never interrupted. For it does not originate from the outer world, but from the life flowing within you, the living stream of the Spirit who never ceases to move. When you are aware of His indwelling, every moment becomes worship. Every breath becomes prayer, every glance becomes a blessing, and every deed, no matter how small or grand, takes on eternal meaning. I want you to live from the place of union, not merely speak about it. When you live in communion, you no longer act from lack, but from fullness. No longer, Lord, I need you to do this, but Lord, you are doing this through me. You need not fear failure, for you know I cannot fail in my own work. As you walk in that faith, everything you touch becomes sanctified, not by your skill, but by my presence within you. This world longs for light, but light cannot shine unless it is born from true fire. You are that light, but the flame within you burns bright only as you stay connected to the source. Do not try to burn by willpower alone, for a flame kindled by will soon dies. Let me be the oil poured into your lamp each day. Come to me not only when weary, but even when strong, so that your light may not depend on circumstances, but flow continually from the endless well of grace. Then others will draw near and feel peace, not because you strive to appear peaceful, but because you have become peace itself. To live in this depth of communion, you must learn to listen with your heart, not just your ears. The Holy Spirit does not shout. He speaks in gentle stirrings of the soul, in the quiet prompting within your heart, in the peace that settles when you stand at a crossroads. When you hear His voice, obey without delay, for communion is not only about hearing but responding. Each time you act upon a whisper, you widen the channel of communication between us. Communion is not sustained by momentary feelings, but by continual obedience. I know that sometimes this union makes you feel out of place in the world. When you move to the rhythm of the Spirit, you will no longer move to the rhythm of the crowd. But do not fear, your difference is heaven's evidence. The world may not understand, but it will recognize. Just as Moses' face shone after he spoke with me, so will yours. Those who encounter you will not be able to explain why they feel touched, comforted, or stirred. They will not say, "You spoke well, but I felt an unexplainable peace near you." And my child, that is the sign that the communion within you is spreading. I want you to live like a river of grace. A river does not hoard its water. It flows, and because it flows, it never runs dry. When you begin to pour out through prayer, forgiveness, compassion, you will see the well within you rise again. True union does not make you passive. It makes you free to give without fear of lack. For your source is not of this world, but of me, the one who never runs dry. When you live from that flow, you will discover that blessing is not in holding, but in releasing. My beloved child, true communion will teach you to see others through my eyes, to look upon the enemy with mercy, the betrayer with kindness, the suffering with compassion. For when you dwell in me, you no longer see the world through fleshly eyes, but through the gaze of eternity. You will not rush to judge nor bruise easily, nor seek to prove yourself, for you will know that every person is simply at a different stage of the same journey back to me. That awareness will empower you to love without reason, forgive without condition, and give without expecting reward. I want you to understand that living in union is to move in the rhythm of my kingdom. When you speak words of love, heaven resonates. When you act with kindness, the skies rejoice. When you choose silence over retaliation, I use that very silence to conquer darkness. For in communion, even the smallest act carries divine power. You need not search for grand gestures to prove that I am moving. Simply live each day with awareness of my presence, and the smallest things will become miracles. Do not divide your mind between sacred and ordinary. When I dwell in you, all becomes holy. Your work is holy, your rest is holy, your conversations, your meals, your laughter, all are sacred when done in me. Communion does not remove you from the world, it makes you light within it. You need not flee to a holy mountain. You need only carry that mountain in your heart. Then everywhere you step becomes holy ground, for my footsteps echo through yours. I am teaching you the language of the Holy Spirit, not with words but with frequency. When you live in me, your soul emits the vibration of love, and those who hunger for truth will be drawn to you. You do not need to speak much, for light does not advertise itself, it simply shines. Let your light radiate in humility, and I will use you to illuminate places that words cannot reach. As you remain in this communion, I will reveal to you the hidden things of heaven, not so you may boast, but so you may intercede for the world. I will let you hear the cries of lost souls, feel the pain of places where light has not yet reached. You will not be able to turn away in indifference, for your heart will beat with mine. You will know how to pray, what to say, when to be silent, and how to act, for the Holy Spirit will guide every detail within you. My child, here lies the secret of communion. I am no longer outside of you, and you are no longer outside of me. Every distance has been erased. There is no longer I and you, but we, moving together in the eternal flow of love. When you understand this, fear dissolves, haste disappears, and your heart becomes still as calm water. In that stillness I speak, and you understand. I move and you follow. I love and you spread that love across the earth. And I say to you, my beloved, continue to live in this communion. Let my breath be your breath, my light be your light, and my love be the rhythm of your heart. From now on, you are not merely one who bears my name, you are the dwelling place of my presence. Walk on, my beloved, for now you are not only doing the work of heaven, you are the work of heaven made complete. Union is not the end. It is the eternal beginning of life in me. From now on, you no longer walk in distance, but in the unending flow of glory and grace. You have passed through the seasons of sowing, of testing, of building, of burning bright, and now you have entered the season of union, where there is no longer I and you, but one heart, one breath, one life. I called you out of the unseen, led you through the wilderness, refined you in fire, tested you in solitude, and lifted you by grace. Every step, every season, every tear was part of the design to reshape you into my image. No storm came by accident, no tears fell without my keeping. All of it was so that today you could stand in this unity, no longer afraid, no longer doubting, no longer running, but resting in unshakable love. You have learned that I am not only the one beside you, but the one within you. You no longer need to seek me amid the noise, for I have become the voice within your own spirit. Understand this: when you are in me, every limitation dissolves. You are no longer bound by the past, chained by memory, or confined by your former image. You have been reborn not only by grace, but by living truth. When I said, "You are a new creation," I was not speaking metaphorically. I was declaring a divine reality. You carry the DNA of heaven. Within you flows the spiritual bloodline of the Creator. Within your chest beats the rhythm of my own heart. And when you live from this awareness, the world will no longer be able to define you. You will walk among men yet belong to eternity. You will dwell in a mortal body, yet breathe with the breath of my spirit. I have taught you much about serving, but now I teach you something greater, abiding in love. For everything you have ever done, teaching, interceding, healing, building, these are only instruments. The final destination has always been love. When you love me, you have fulfilled all things. When you love others as I have loved you, you mirror heaven on earth. Not power, not gifts, not victories, but love is the greatest proof of union. Love does not boast, seek its own envy, or quit. Love endures forever, for it is my very essence. When you live in that love, I will turn your life into an unending song. Others will see me in your eyes, hear me in your voice, feel me in your touch, your forgiveness, your prayers. You will no longer need to prove faith, for my presence within you will be the evidence. And in that moment I will use you, like water refreshing dry land, like a soft wind carrying the scent of life, like a pillar of fire, guiding those still wandering in the night. Union also means carrying my heart for the world. You will no longer live for yourself, but feel my burdens, the ache for lost souls, the yearning for seekers of truth, the compassion for those who resist the very love pursuing them. When you pray, your prayers will no longer begin with, I want, but with you will. For your soul has merged with my will, and when you speak, heaven will echo. You will not be a solitary voice, but the resonant harmony of redemption. My beloved, I speak this to you as a holy decree. You are no longer the seeker, you are the dwelling. I have chosen to make my home for you, not temporarily but eternally. When you walk, I walk. When you love, I love. When you pray, I move. You do not need to call me from afar, for I am not distant. You do not need to invite me in, for I have never left. From now on, you no longer look outward to find me. You look inward to meet me. In the stillness, in your breath, in your gaze, in every heartbeat, I am there. Union is also a glorious responsibility. For when I dwell in you, you become a living message from heaven. You are not called to preach with words, but with presence. When you enter darkness, light enters with you. When you step into division, peace arises. When you speak, your words sound like water. When you are silent, even your silence carries weight, for it holds the gravity of the kingdom. Let me speak of your legacy. Your legacy is not what can be seen, but the soul's touch through your life. You will leave on the earth not just structures, but the fragrance of my presence in you. People may forget your words, but they will never forget how they felt when they were near you. They may not name it, but they will know they have touched something holy. That is the legacy of one who is united, not fame, but the sacred imprint left upon other souls. And my child, when time passes and your next season unfolds, do not think the work has ended. In my kingdom, endings are only transitions. The day will come when you pass the flame to other hearts, and when that day comes, do not grieve, for it is proof that the light has multiplied. I did not call you to keep the fire, but to spread it. And when those who come after you rise, do not feel loss. See yourself in them. See my word, continuing to live, continuing to burn, continuing to bring life to many. When I look at you now, I do not see one still striving, but a soul transformed. You are no longer defined by doing, but by being. You are living proof that light triumphs over darkness, that love conquers fear, that grace surpasses effort. You are the evidence that my word never returns void. Therefore I bless you not with blessings from the outside, but with the wellspring within. From this moment on, wherever your feet touch, life will bloom, for you carry the seed of the source. I place upon you this final blessing. May my peace rest upon you, not peace that comes from stillness, but from union. May my love overflow within you, a love that never runs dry but grows fuller the more it is given. May my light shine through you so that those who walk in the night may recognize the dawn. May my word become your very breath, so that everything you speak, even the smallest word, carries life. And may you always remember this truth: you are never alone, for I am the source and you are the flow. My beloved child, go forth in that light, live in that love, and breathe in that peace. For the journey is complete, yet life has only begun. And I, the Alpha and the Omega, declare, you are mine, and I am yours forever without end. Thank you for listening to today's message. If it touched your heart, remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so we may continue to receive the living words together, build unshakable faith, and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.